Sunday or like a random show.
Right.
Just
There we
a
so we're
bunch of tears.
so we're live now.
Oh,
We can definitely,
hey,
man.
hey.
I'm open to anything, you know me, right? When it
Yeah.
comes to like the creative part, giving the people what they want, bro. I'm open to that. I'm not an egomaniac in that sense. Maybe in some other
Yeah,
stuff,
man.
maybe in some, but not in
Mhm.
giving people what they want though. Salute party people in place. Be what's good. It's your number one chief rocker, Uncle Freezy. Good
Salute.
Sunday afternoon. I'm joined by Coach Malpica, Big Paisan. We just coming through, rocking the spot a little bit, man. Gonna answer your questions, talk a little bit about a few different things. Man, y'all put y'all questions and stuff in the chat. And for the most part, we're gonna hold off on some stuff that we want to talk about for the most part, and talk about what it is that y'all want to talk about, man. Just Knicks in the building. Andios was good.
Salute, fellas. Yeah, man, we're gonna open up the request lines.
DJ, please.
But so yeah, we're gonna do some rare air and let the fans throw out some questions to us. We'll be glad to answer to the best of our quasi expert selves.
Right.
And say, oh, Ivory 10 in the building. Salute.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, man. While the off season was really sparking up there for a little while in the NBA, it's just kind of cooled off here lately, including the Knicks. You know, besides the last time we talked, you know, we had that hiring of Coach Gent. And yeah, we still got that last roster spot floating around. So if you guys have any questions for us about the team, Mike Brown, you know, shirt size, you know, whatever. Hey, I was proud of us. Every time the last show we had on Friday night, what did we rock for like 2 hours or so?
Yeah.
And we didn't say the M word once. Like we mentioned it just once or twice, and just in the flow of, you know, we were talking about the offense and stuff, and then we mentioned like lobbing it to Mitch inside or throwing it to Mitch once or twice. Out of the 2 hours, we probably spent 6 seconds using the M word. That was like one of the first times ever.
Yeah.
We were good boys.
Yeah.
So just Knicks asked, starting Deuce a better lineup versus starting. I don't know if that's a question or he's making a statement.
Ooh. Hey, what are your thoughts on it? What are your thoughts on
it? I think it's what it should always be. Most rosters in the NBA, most of them, I guess, the real good ones have 5 solid starters that are, you know, fit most situations. Right. But I think the Knicks are in a situation where I think that question could be answered as dependent on who our opponent is.
Okay.
So if we play someone like the Thunder, who might play like 2 bigs with Holmgren and or like Cleveland and maybe even Orlando, a little bigger in the front court, I think we should go with Mitch, you know.
Okay.
And then rosters that maybe play a little more small ball or built more like, you know, wing or guard heavy. You know, we do the whole Deuce thing or whoever. I mean, we're not even talking about. I've already thought about this possibility. I wouldn't be surprised if Yabusele sneaks into the starting,
Okay.
just because his skill set, his size, and his versatility. Like that's what Yabusele brings. Obviously, he doesn't bring the defensive, you know, part that Mitch brings, but he's got enough size and experience at the 3, 4, and 5 that, and because he is a threat to score, we can actually play a true 5 out and still be big enough, you know, with the Yabusele in there. So when we have Deuce in there, we can do 5 out, but we're a little shorter, you know.
Okay.
But yeah, so in my eyes, I don't I don't know which is better. So yeah.
Okay. I would say the thing I would say the thing with Deuce is this, right? Yo, Shop Powell's in the building. Salute. Fritz Alcinder's in the building. Man, Wayne Peterson, our guy, is in the
Bodega
building.
Wi-Fi.
Bodega Wi-Fi.
What's your takes on that?
I don't think Deuce is a starter.
Yeah, I don't either.
Right. Chop Low is in the building. Brooklyn's own. Chop Low in the building. Salute.
I'm sure him and Clarkson are going to play together a lot when the second unit comes in. But as far as rotation goes, I think Clarkson leapfrogged him.
I don't know for certain that Deuce McBride is a Mike Brown type player. Period. Yeah. That's my thoughts on it. I like Deuce. I like Deuce, right? But I don't think he fits the Mike Brown system.
Do you think he's like anything like Davion Mitchell?
No, he's not as good as Davion Mitchell, bro.
See, that's the kind of guy that Mike Brown likes.
You know, Mike Brown traded him.
I thought he had him in Sacramento for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I think they traded him.
He never fit. He never fit in Sacramento.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because they had Keon Ellis come in and all that. Well, I mean, I was saying I think Deuce has a similar. I don't mean he's as good. I'm talking about the play style. He's similar to Davion Mitchell. You know, he's shorter. He can defend. I mean, he's not as good a ball handler as Mitchell is. You know, so if Mike Brown wasn't feeling him, how's he going to feel Deuce? You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm worried about.
That's what I'm saying. I think Deuce doesn't. I think Deuce doesn't fit. And Bodega says he traded Halliburton too. That's a great. Yeah, Ooh, you're right. So he traded a 6'5" pure passer also. Yeah. That's something to think about. The thing is, I don't compare Deuce to Davion Mitchell. I compare Deuce to Javon Carter. I think that's more. I think Deuce is a better version of Javon Carter. Right. Davion Mitchell is a super aggressive guard that can score. Like if you saw what he brought to Miami, down the now they got worse overall as a team with Davion Mitchell there. But I don't think it had anything to do with Davion Mitchell. it's the fact that they couldn't play Davion Mitchell and Terry Rozier together. That's what I thought. In terms of Deuce being the starter, I'm asking the question: are we saying have Deuce be the starter because he is at least an adequate floor spacer and can be your point of attack defender? Or are we saying there's something special about Deuce McBride that will enhance the lineup? That's my thought on it. So,
I mean, I'm going to be blunt. I don't think Deuce enhances anything in our lineup. If anything, he's a detriment because if Deuce, I mean, I can't. If I say this sentence, he'd be a $10 million player. Like, if Deuce was a ball handler and can distribute like a diminutive guard that he is, he'd be a $10 to $12 million player. And we wouldn't be having this discussion. But we're having this discussion because, like I say all the time, Deuce McBride is a 6'1", 3-and-D wing. I'm calling him a wing because that's just his skill set. Like he's a 3-and-D point guard.
But he hasn't been hitting his threes though.
Yeah, and that's just it. And when you're a 3-and-D, which are two things, and one of those things isn't working, you're just a D.
yeah.
And that's the grade you're getting from me too, because then you're looking at, yes, he can defend the perimeter, he can defend other point guards. But I see guys like TJ McConnell blowing by him. I see taller guards and wings shooting over him. I'm not trying to make this the poo on Deuce. I'm just keeping it real. What I see when he plays. Do I love when he hustles and gets fired and makes some threes? Yeah. When he tries to dunk once in a while, it's nice. It's cool to see a short guy rise up. I mean, he plays taller because he's got long arms and he is athletic. But I think this guy can defend Donovan Mitchell in the crunch?
No.
I mean, not many people can, but that's right. The guy we need him to defend. You know, if it's not Mikal Bridges, Mikal can't do the whole game. You know, so, and the reason why I mentioned Mitchell, because if we're looking at the top of the East right now, that's our biggest competition. So that's why I'm referring to that. That's not even counting him trying to defend Jalen Suggs or Desmond Bain.
Right.
Can he defend one of them too?
No.
So that's the real part, you know, that I look at. Because we have a point guard in Brunson who can't defend those guys either.
And therein lies the issue.
Yeah.
If you're brought in to be a specialist and you're not special, then what are you really?
You're Trey bait. But I think he's in trouble. Like he's in trouble. We see that the Knicks trying to get Ben Simmons, and if they're aiming to get Ben Simmons, the position that they're going to give Ben Simmons is backup point guard.
Is the Deuce McBride role? Yeah,
that's Deuce's spot. So
yeah,
now you no longer play point guard. Now you're playing shooting guards. Now you're undersized, and you're not hitting shots. And what did they bring in the summer? They brought a guy who can hit shots.
Hey, let me ask y'all this. Do you feel like Deuce McBride had a better regular season or postseason?
He had a good series. He had like one good
But
series.
the two options though, the
Regular
two options
season.
are regular season and postseason.
Regular season, which he started late.
Right, and even and so that is accurate what Fritz said. Like he chose the accurate answer, right? He had a better regular season. His regular season, he shot 40% from the floor, 36.8% from three. Right, for a guy that doesn't generate his own 3-point shots or doesn't generate 3-point shots for others. Right, he's a
he gets
spot
to
up
shoot
3-point.
open ones too.
Yeah, he's a spot up 3-point shooter that didn't shoot 40%. Chop low in the building.
I mean, his regular season was better, and you can say his regular season was better the year before than this regular season.
I feel you. I
You know what I'm
feel you.
saying?
My brother Chop Low in the building.
Chop Low, what's up, bro? I ain't seen him in a minute. Mm-hmm.
Salute, bless up.
Salute, bro.
Yeah, and so Ivory 10, and everybody, this is a show that we're gonna read like bless up the comment section. Like, you know what I'm saying, just try to put a little emphasis on the comments just to see what people are thinking. And Ivory 10 says, I don't think you guys are saying this 100% correct. Just because the ball handler will be Ben Simmons doesn't mean that Deuce will not be playing his best position, which is off ball. Right? Well, the thing is with that, Ivory 10, if he's playing off the ball, he's got to put up great off-ball numbers because he's still at a deficit at the position. So he's not a 6'6" off-ball shooter. He's not a 6'7", 6'8", 6'9" defender on the opposite side of the floor. Right? The only reason why his metrics are better when he's on the floor is because he shoots 1 to 2% better from three than OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges from three. Right? If it was Quentin Grimes instead of Deuce, and Quentin Grimes shoots at around 40% from three, then you'd see a huge gap. Right? But since Deuce is marginally better than Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby from three, right? It shows as a net positive on numbers. Like the analytics people will say, well, the net the plus minus or whatever it is, net positive Deuce is a no, it's only because he is marginally better from three than OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges. Right? If Landry Shamet had been getting those minutes consistently that Deuce were getting, right? And Landry Shamet started slow and then got red hot towards the end of his NBA career, like those last few games. Like if Landry Shamet had been 40% from three the entire time, we wouldn't even be having a Deuce conversation right now. Or if Deuce was shooting about 40%, you know, we wouldn't be having these conversations. As a matter of fact, a guy like Deuce that brings a unnatural deficiency to the floor, being a 6'2" wing player, basically. You know what I'm saying? 6'2" wing player, basically, to the floor. You gotta have something else dynamic, I'll give you an example. Like if you're Larry Centers, like if for those that remember, Coach, you remember the fullback Larry Centers, number 37 for the Cardinals?
Oh yeah.
Back in the day, you used to catch the ball. If you're a fullback that can't block, think about it. Larry Centers was a fullback that couldn't block and a fullback that couldn't run. But you know what he did do? He would catch the hell out that football, bro. You couldn't cover him at all. Like you couldn't cover him with a safety, linebacker, corner. You couldn't cover him, right? But since he was about 6'2", about 230, you know what I'm saying? You couldn't. It's an unnatural advantage. The thing with Deuce is Deuce doesn't present like that unnatural, advantage that makes the risk of running a 6'2" guard that's really a wing. There's no decided advantage, right? Like for instance, Mitchell Robinson is a limited offensive player at 7 foot, right? But Mitchell Robinson brings a level of dynamics to the floor where it's worth playing Mitch, right? Mitch shoots free throws terribly, but he brings something so dynamic to the floor that you can't really keep him off the floor. Only Mitchell Robinson's short injury history keeps him off the floor. But with Deuce, you're like, okay, he's 6'2", so he's got to be an elite ball handler. No. He's 6'2", he's got to be an elite shooter. No. He's 6'2", he's got to be an elite defender. No. He's 6'2", he's got to be elite at steals. No. He's got to be elite at assists. No. What about rebounding? No. You feel me? So the thing with Deuce, and I love Deuce, by the way. I love Deuce, by the way. But if they're this locked in on Ben Simmons all the way into the middle of August of the offseason, they know that Deuce has deficiencies. And I think it's time for the Knicks fan base to realize that Deuce has deficiencies also. And it's something that we'll probably have to address. And this is just basketball stuff. This is not me saying Deuce is soft or because he's none of that stuff. Deuce is a great person, great character, great leader, but there are some deficiencies there. How you a shooting guard and can't shoot? Or guard?
At least Josh Hart can get rebounds. I'm sorry to say, guys. I'm not sorry to say it. I'm just saying Josh Hart is a shooting guard. He's supposed to be.
He's supposed to be.
But because of his skill set or lack of skills in some parts of his game, he's been relegated to a small power forward role, But technically he's a shooting guard, And because we already have vertically challenged position players that lack some skills that they should have for their position, we can't start compounding that problem. Because if both Deuce and Josh were elite defenders, then you can forgive some of the other shortcomings. We forgive some of Mitch's offensive shortcomings because he's an elite defender. Okay, so that's why us, a lot of Knicks fans, when we have these homegrown guys we drafted, yes, we have a soft spot in our heart for them, maybe. But if Deuce was someone that was traded to here and gave the same performance or lack of performance, we'd be pissed that we traded for him. I'm just being honest. Like we give him more. We give these kind of guys more rope because they're like our son. Like they're our family. They're homegrown guys. There's 150 guys in the NBA that shoot better at three than he did last year. Look at the advanced stats in the NBA shooting percent.
Let me play the devil's advocate here just a little bit, Coach. Not really play the devil's advocate because I think a lot of what you're saying is true, but I think what the context of the conversation is what everyone has totally skipped over. Number one, we asked Deuce to be something he was not last year. We tried to make him a sixth man. We knew he was not. We tried to make him a backup point guard. We knew he was not. And now when he underperforms doing these new things that even the team said that he was not, right? Even the team said that they didn't view him as a point guard, yet and still they put him in the backup point guard position every single game, okay? And they asked him to be like a six man, a guy who could create his own shot last year. He got better at it. I think it's going to be good for his career going forward, but it's not what he is. What we saw Deuce become or try to be was what we expect Clarkson to be this year. Not necessarily the backup point, but the scorer and the six man off the bench. Here's the point. When we move, or if we're able to move Deuce off ball and have a guy that's Simmons, like let's just say Simmons, right? Let's just use him as an example since he's been in the news so much. If you've got a big dude like that running the point or running your offense, starting the offense, Deuce is fantastic in that situation. Amazing. He is not.
Yeah, but Clarkson's going to be there though, not Deuce.
Clarkson is the off guard. Clarkson's the off guard. And there's no reason why Deuce couldn't still play the point guard on defense, but on offense, we're spreading the floor. It's positionless basketball. He's on the he's not a detriment in that situation. And catch and shoot, we know Deuce is nice. I see if we're able to get a backup point guard like a Simmons who is going to command a bigger player to defend him and not going to allow a point guard to defend him, which would mean a wing is on Deuce, I would see Deuce having a really nice comeback year.
I need some data to support Deuce being nice as a spot-up shooter. The data don't support that.
Like he's already been like. I'm sure you watched most of the games.
You just admitted. I think you said he was the best shooting wing on the team.
Who said that?
Didn't you say his 3-point shooting was just barely better than OG and
marginally better than OG?
Yeah.
And
how is that not great for a $3 million player?
I also said that Landry Shamet was a better 3-point shooter.
Yeah, he might be, but he's probably not a better basketball player.
Right.
He's probably not a better basketball
But you're talking about a fraction of the shots. Okay. And Deuce, I'm not saying because I watched every trip up down the court this year, but I watched every trip up and down the court this year, and no one shot more open threes on this team than Deuce McBride.
I don't know about that.
Mikal Bridges is the other one that had the most open. Look, I'm talking about percentage-wise. I'm not talking about volume. Like most of Deuce's threes were open looks. Okay. Yep. Now, Mikal and OG, they have more opportunities. The starters are always in the game. They shoot a lot more contested threes, and they have open threes too sometimes that they miss. It used to drive me crazy. People with too, when they miss. But the threes that we expect Deuce to make, and I'm not expecting him to be all world. Even Clarkson's not a great percentage shooter. He's a volume shooter. I get that. But Deuce has to be a 40% 3-point shooter.
No,
like anyone that's in that role.
No. This dude's got to be on those looks that he's got to be 40.
Well, I'm talking about a minimum
45%. Yeah. Deuce has got. Come on, man. Jalen Brunson takes off too much of the attention from the defense for a guy to kick out to and only knocks down 36-something% from three.
Right.
Okay, so I just chatted it up, fellas. I didn't know. I wanted to kind of put some numbers. You guys wanted some numbers. So I just asked ChatGPT who missed the largest percentage of open 3-point shots for the New York Knicks last year 2024-2025. Miles McBride missed almost 17%. Cameron Payne missed 45%. Josh Hart missed 37%. Bridges 21. Shamet 22. Brunson 20. So the numbers don't back up what you guys are saying. That's all I'm saying.
Right. What about his? Because I got you. I feel you, and I'm glad you brought that point up. For one, that's why Cameron Payne ain't here.
Right. But I'm talking about the other. I'm talking about the real. I should have said his name.
No. I'm validating your point. I just want to go there with your point. For one, that's why Cameron Payne stopped playing in the playoffs. Right. But for Deuce, though, bro. For Deuce, even though that number suggests he missed less, right? The overall number for Deuce when we get down to brass tacks, is 36.9 for a guy that is 6'2" that can't create his own shot.
But that's why it was so low.
And
right?
what does Chat
We were
GPT
we were
consider
asking him to
open?
create his own shot last year. That's why the percentages went down. That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm not denying that the percentages went down. I'm just explaining why I think they did. Is because we were asking him to be what we expect Clarkson to be this year, which is a good six-man scorer. Even people were talking about, oh, Deuce is going to be a six-man candidate. Deuce is going to. I'm like, everybody needs to settle down. Coach, I think you and I even had this conversation early in the summer last year where everybody was expecting Deuce to take another jump. And I told everyone to settle down. Deuce took the hugest jump between his second and third years. To expect him to take another jump is just crazy. I was expecting him to stay the same, or at least hoping he would stay the same. And that would have been a win, I thought, for the Knicks. But we saw him regress because I think his role changed. Even in the summer, they were talking about, oh, we need a backup point. And then they said, yeah, we don't see Deuce as a point guard. And then the next thing you know, they were putting him in the game as the backup point guard and as our sixth man. So that's why our bench was struggled. That's why I think Deuce struggled. And I think if we had someone that took over those floor leadership, responsibilities, and Deuce can just find open spots, I think he might be a killer. I think we might see the old Deuce come back, but that's just me. Hopefully,
we agree, Ivory. The thing is in that role that you just mentioned, Deuce is still only shooting 36.9% from three. That's what I'm saying.
But what you mean on catch and shoot? Are you trying to catch and shoot threes, or the role of like kind of being off guard?
He's not an off guard role.
Let me just say off ball. How about that?
But everybody that doesn't have it is going to be off ball.
Right. But Deuce is playing on ball most of the time. Last year,
he played on unless he plays with Brunson,
which we didn't see a lot of.
These are for that reason, and I know the situation sounds complex and convoluted, but what I'm mentioning though is the thing about Deuce is there is no level up. Basically, what I'm saying is if we go by wins above replacement, I don't think Deuce is a positive wins above replacement type. And I know that's a baseball term, right? What I'm saying is if you take out Deuce and put in Tyrese Maxey, I think Jalen Brunson's numbers skyrocket, Maxey's numbers skyrocket. I think the Knicks are the NBA champs. Unfortunately, the Knicks can't get a Tyrese Maxey at Deuce McBride's salary.
Yeah, I mean, a logical replacement, a realistic replacement.
Right. No, here's the thing. So I just want to draw so the thing is what if you replace Deuce with Cameron Payne? Well, the Knicks are worse. And you brought up the data that supported the Knicks are worse with Cameron Payne, right? Cameron Payne missed a lot of shots. He took a lot of ill-advised shots, right? So we know on one side, on the top end, Tyrese Maxey is an unreasonable expectation. At the same time, we know guys like Cameron Payne are not going to be the answer. You're not going to find a scrap heap guy to replace Deuce, right? Which means Deuce is a good NBA player, right?
He has value. He definitely has value.
But the thing for me is NBA professionals that aren't, I mean, even the big men shoot that good nowadays. But we have young wings in the waiting that we could be giving them those shots.
Who cares? What
do you mean, who cares?
They'll get their chance when their time comes.
No, you don't get to cut me off and say, who cares? I'm not done with my point. I'm not done with my point.
The kids that can't even perform on the G League level yet.
It's not kids. I'm talking about someone like Pacome Dadier. If he gets the same amount of shots,
he's a kid who played
as much as Deuce McBride, the upside that he has is he's 6'10".
But we're trying to win a chip this year. We're not talking
about and Deuce McBride is going to be the point, like the deciding factor if we win or lose. Come on, man.
It ain't going to be Dadier. I can tell you.
He's not even going to be. How do you know?
How do I know? Because Dadier can't perform on the G League level. To expect him to come in and just perform now and be a deciding factor is how I know. What do you mean?
I'm not talking, but you're talking about counting on Deuce McBride to be a huge
I said
piece
that?
of a championship
Is that
team.
what I said? Is that what I said?
No, that's what you're expecting of him to
No.
be part of a
Is that
rotation.
what I'm expecting?
You want him playing off ball instead of a Clarkson. He's not going to be in there instead of Clarkson.
What do you mean
He's not going to be.
Clarkson?
If Simmons is in, you're going to have Clarkson and Deuce and all these guys all in the game at once.
I would love
Like
to have Clarkson
with
Deuce,
another point
Ben
guard
Simmons in the game at once. Yes, Clarkson, Deuce, and Ben Simmons in the game at once. Yeah, is that a problem?
Not in general, but yeah, because I don't think Deuce is.
Let's not make up.
Deuce had their chance.
I think he's the end all be all to solve the Knicks' problems. I never said anything like that. What I said was I think Deuce would be a lot better contributor, a lot more of a contributor if you take him off ball. If you had a guy like Simmons handling the ball, and I can tell you right now, I expect Clarkson to handle the ball and run the offense a lot more.
Yeah, I do too.
And I think he'll also perform a little bit better with Clarkson. And that's all I'm saying. I didn't say he was the end all be all. He's the decision maker.
What I'm saying is there's
him over a kid that's not performing in G League.
There's
right
guys in the league
he's putting up 30-point games in G League, 30 and 30. I mean, he was going bananas.
I understand that, but there's guys that have a specific particular build and skill set similar to Deuce that are all over the league that we can have.
The problem with
Deuce, what I'm saying.
Deuce has his issues and his drawbacks, but I think exactly what we're saying. The biggest problem with Deuce is he can't play with Brunson very well because of the size issue. But in a lot of lineups, that's not as big a drawback as I think we make it, because there's plenty of small lineups out there with starters. If you look at Cleveland, they won 60 games or whatever last year with the smallest two front guards that are not known for defense, either one of them, by the way.
So is Deuce better than Darius Garland?
Deuce is not a better player than Darius Garland.
Oh, okay.
He's a better defender. Right. The point being is that the reason why you can play Deuce with Brunson a little bit more is because you don't need him to be so offensive. The problem with them is on the defensive side is because they're both really small. That's where the problem comes in. And for some, I don't think it's going to be as big a problem as we make it, but that's why we want a big ball handler in that second unit like Ben Simmons, so that Deuce can go back to being Deuce. If Deuce goes back to playing his normal role, I'm telling you, he will shine. He's going to shine. He's going to play a lot better this year, I think, automatically, just because of Clarkson is going to have the ball in his hands a lot.
What I'm saying is, what did Deuce show you defensively that justifies being patient with his shooting?
Deuce is adequate enough for a $3 million player for a team that doesn't have any money. I mean, what are we talking about? You guys are talking about a replacement, but with some kid you've never even seen before. You act like Deuce has no value whatsoever. I'm not the biggest Deuce fan. I even told you last year I wanted the kid that we sent to the Israeli team. I wanted him to replace Deuce. I forgot his name. Jokibitis. I wanted Jokibitis to replace Deuce. Yeah. But my point is that Deuce does have value. He's not making any money. We don't have any money.
I'm not saying he's trash. I'm just saying I think we have better options.
He does things on our bench that no one else can do on an average level. He doesn't excel at anything, but he's average at everything more than anyone else on the bench. That's the problem with the bench.
We're not even talking about, like, we're mentioning these three other guys, and there's a guy named Josh Hart too.
Josh Hart missed 37% of his open threes. I mean, you guys just told me. You guys just.
No, I know. I'm saying, but there's a guy named Josh Hart that's going to be part of that second unit too, possibly. So now we're compounding the issue.
It's not. Listen, when it comes to the bench is expected to do one thing: keep the game where it is when the starters leave. Sure, we'd like to see them go on a run and blah, blah, blah. But ideally, for a good starting team like the Knicks have, you just want your bench to keep them in the game, keep them right there, and not take such a big loss when Brunson's off the floor. Those guys can do that. Josh Hart has proven that he will find a way to fit in and work. I understand that overplaying him, it has its detriments, but Josh Hart will find a way to fit in, guys. We've seen it year in and year out. We complain about his shooting. We know his limitations, but the guy finds a way to have great seasons. Look what he did last season. I thought he was underwhelming in the playoffs, but his last season, he was very good.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, I'm not putting Josh Hart.
Can you play Josh Hart at the 3? If so, then
I think you can play as long as you have Mitch and/or Huck Porty at the 5. With that lineup with Simmons, like Simmons can play like the post defense with, like he can run the offense on offense and then defend a big wing or a post player on defense. That's what's great about Simmons.
What's interesting about that team, that second team, although they're not known to be, they would be a terrible, they would be a terrible half court team. But man, I would love to see Simmons running with Deuce and Josh Hart and some of those. I wouldn't mind seeing that. I think that would be. Listen, I think they would be good enough as a bench. That's for sure. I think a Simmons out there helping them with that ball handling, I think would be huge. And Simmons could potentially help out with the starting unit. I think if Mitch is having one of those nights or Cat's having one of those nights where he can't seem to defend anybody, then maybe Simmons fits in really nice there. We'll see. We'll see. But I don't think it would be as bad as we think. We're not compounding a problem. When you say, yeah, we can't shoot, well, every team doesn't have shooters up and down the lineup. Even the good teams, they don't have shooters every damn where. We can find a way to survive without having all these three-point shooters.
And my holding Deuce to a certain standard at this point now and to the fire is only because if he shot that way and was a 6'5" wing that can defend more than just other point guards, and he could do a bunch of other things on the court, I can live with him only shooting 38% and not complain about it as much. That's why I don't complain about OG and McHale's three-point shooting as much as I normally would, because they provide so many other things as well. When Deuce's thing is supposed to be that first, then that has to be his, that has to be above average. You know what I'm saying? When that's your true special, like OG and McHale's true specialty isn't their three-point shooting. Like Deuce's role on this team is to be the spot-up three-point shooter last year.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
No?
Not to interrupt you. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but no, last year his role was not to be the spot-up guy. He was not getting a ton of spot-ups. He was on ball. That's what I'm trying to tell you. He was the guy that had to try and create for everybody. Meanwhile, the world, including the Knicks, told you that's not what we see him doing. That's why
I just see when I watch him get.
I agree, but
sorry, I see Deuce doing catch and shoot threes a lot.
Right? Yeah, of course, because what happened is both of y'all are right. Like at the beginning of the season, Cameron Payne was the primary ball handler off the bench. Cameron Payne wound up being wildly inconsistent, and then so instead of staying with that wildly inconsistent point guard play off the bench with Cameron Payne, which I loved his confidence. I'm not gonna lie, I loved Cameron Payne's confidence. The thing is, do you continue to let Cameron Payne be wildly inconsistent, or do you put the ball in the hands of somebody that you can trust and Deuce that's not going to turn it over? Right now, while he may not score every trip down the floor, you at least know you're going to get a halfway decent shot. So both of y'all are right, and we saw the transition. So the fact that we just brought that up, man, I don't think that's fair, because Deuce wasn't that guy from the beginning. Cameron Payne was not the shooting guard off the bench. Y'all know that. Y'all know Cameron Payne wasn't a guy playing off the bench at the start of the season. Y'all know Cameron Payne was the man off the bench to start the season. But the more ineffective he got, the more chances Deuce McBride got to run the show.
And Deuce was hurt in the beginning of the season as well. We remember that.
Yeah,
Deuce wasn't even there.
He was hurt twice.
Yeah.
Deuce was hurt twice. So, so to your point, I think both of y'all are right. It's just I guess in the moment, we're not.
Listen, what happened? Here's what happened. Everybody's expectations got too high on Deuce last summer. I tried to calm everybody down. No, everybody went overboard. And even at the start of the season, it was like, oh, Deuce is going to be the lead for the six man. It was the most ridiculous. It's just not who he is. It's not who he is. He's not a scorer. And mixed with those expectations, along with what happened last year, now everyone is down on Deuce. But I'm telling you, as soon as you get Deuce back to his role, he's going to be fine. He's going to be fine. He's going to be a wonderful $3 million addition to this team, and we're going to be happy we have him. I'm telling you.
Well, let me. I pretend. Let me say. I'm gonna say some numbers. Right. I'm gonna give you some numbers. You tell me what you think these numbers refer to. 29.6, 35.8, 45.2, 40.6. What do you think those percentages refer to?
They sound like shooting percentages.
Those are Deuce McBride's career shooting percentages, bro. That man had a season where he played 40 games and shot 29.6% from the floor.
Yeah, I told y'all he had the two horrible first years. Horrible. And that's why when he made that huge jump in the third year, I was like,
he played though.
He played?
He was playing.
Yeah.
People think that he didn't play.
No, he played. He got
played
time.
over 100 games in his first 2 years, bro.
He played. He just, like I said, that third year leap was massive. And that's why when everybody was like saying, oh, I want to see a leap from Deuce, I'm like, whoa, we just saw him become Superman over the summer. You can't expect him to have another year like that. And then when the whole roles changed, and he was hurt, I think this team, I think the fact that we didn't go out and get someone to fill this role, now we're taking it out on Deuce because the management didn't do their job, and because we asked Deuce to do something he didn't do he wasn't supposed to be doing last year, and he didn't do it well. Now we're down on him. I'm telling you right now, if what's that app you can buy stock in a player? This would be the time to buy Deuce, because Deuce is, if they put in, they still have not gotten the guy. That's the subject that's been driving me crazy, and I'm sure you guys see my comments in the chat. It was the biggest issue last year, not having a secondary ball handler and another dude. Is that Clarkson? Do I not know his game well enough?
Yeah.
Clarkson. If that's him, great. If that's him, great.
Clarkson been averaging 4 or 5 assists in Utah the last 2 years off the bench.
The problem with Clarkson is that he's a 1-year rental.
Yeah.
So you're not looking at him long term. It's a 1 year.
That's fine.
He's a hired gun, and that's it. So
great.
You have but you still have to search for the next guy.
Yeah, that's okay. I think that is something you can potentially find on a yearly, a good sixth man, especially when you have the mid-level exception available. It's doable.
You won't have that.
Here's my thing. Like, when you say we put Deuce in that role, we didn't do shit. It was Thibodeau put him in that role.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Knicks.
And Leon Rose didn't put him in that role. Leon Rose drafted some players that should have gotten run last year and should have been on the court and see what we had. I don't want to hear how old they were.
Which guy should have been on the court handling the ball? Which guy? Say a guy then.
I'm not saying the handling part. You're talking about the 6-man role, like being developed or having a 6-man type of person. Why couldn't we let some of these other young guys play and where they're in a situation where they can transition into something like that this year? But now we got like 3 redshirt freshmen
because they couldn't do it.
This year
they couldn't do it in the G League, bro. None of them excelled in the G League. Kolek had a few moments, but even he did not excel in the G League. Just look at the numbers, guys. I mean, you're talking about
you don't have to excel in the G League to have success in a rotation of professional players.
There's a certain amount of success that you're expected to have on that level before you come up to the pros.
I mean, Dwayne Washington had success in the G League.
Yeah, so let me say this real quick. So the Knicks use the G League as not as a developmental thing. If y'all notice, the Knicks were trying to win the G League every year for the past 3 or 4 years. Like, they were really invested in a G League championship. If you notice, the guys on their G League roster, that's not a young G League team, right? That's a veteran.
Yeah, they had Ty Warren in G League the whole year.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Moses Brown.
We treated him bad. He should have been brought up. We didn't do him right.
I agree.
He would have helped.
He should have been on the roster.
He would have
helped.
But
also in the G League, didn't someone get who got fired? And someone got fired in the G League because they didn't think the G League was aligned with the big club.
Of course not. They were running zone down there. I couldn't believe. I was watching a couple of the games. They're running zones. I'm like, whoa, this is.
They said these players aren't being prepared to play for the Knicks. They're playing on G League team like this is their team. Like, no, you should be playing like you're gonna step it up to the Knicks.
Yeah.
And that's not how they were playing in the G League.
Yeah.
That coach though was apparently pretty good. What's the coach's name? I forgot. Is it Was it Diallo? I keep thinking Amadou Diallo, that name for some reason. I don't know. But what was the coach of that?
Deshaun Job.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. So,
No, but like,
oh, go ahead, Coach.
no, I'm sorry. And look, I don't have any delusions of grandeur that Pacome Dottier is going to be the next Scottie Pippen or anything. But even Scottie Pippen wasn't Scottie Pippen, when he first started. No one knew who the hell he was coming out of Central Arkansas. Come on, man. Like, there's kids and guys that they get opportunity around certain like, if you play Pacome Dottier in rotations and he's on the court with Cat, with Brunson, they're going to have opportunities to not have the pressure, to not have as much expectations, and they can just play in the flow of the game because they have other guys around them that are really good.
Right. I mean, no
You know
one
what I'm
minds
saying?
young guys getting time. It's more like who are we going to find to fit that significant role of handling the ball under pressure in the playoffs when Brunson's being double teamed by two.
Deuce is
wings.
not that guy. Deuce ain't that guy.
Right. So that's the problem. We haven't had that guy last year. It was
because
if
Deuce was that guy, that issue that you just mentioned would not have been an issue.
Of course, 100%. So, but this was an issue that we knew about, and that's why Deuce doesn't make any money as well, because Deuce has these limitations. But we knew about that,
right.
And the team knew about that because they told us all he wasn't that guy. Yet and still, are we saying that Brunson is going to be playing good time with Clarkson? Those two?
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
They have to, right? They have to play some good time together.
Well, the thing about that is dynamic backcourts is when every dynamic backcourt has a level of duplicity and a level of complexity, right? Like for instance, every dynamic backcourt that you've ever seen win a championship, they either have guys that are super dynamic together that may have a flaw. Maybe it's defense, right? Or maybe it's 3-point shooting, right? And then it basically what it is when you put Clarkson and Brunson on the floor, you're going to get scoring 24/7. A defense is going to be stretched to their limit with Brunson and Clarkson on the floor. The only thing about Clarkson is he's not a full-time player, right? And Jalen Brunson, for what he is not ideal at the other stuff on the floor when somebody else is scoring and is red hot. Like when another guard gets red hot, what is Jalen Brunson gonna be doing? Right. So it puts you in that weird space, right? Of now you got to kind of, take it in doses because Jalen Brunson's an excellent player. Jalen Brunson's probably a top 12 player in the NBA, top 8. If you're a Knicks fan, you think he's top 5, right? The thing about it is when another player gets hot, like when Mikal Bridges did the game where Mikal Bridges got hot, Jalen Brunson was on the floor. You're like, what's JB out here doing, bro? He out here just running around. He don't know what to, right? Because the thing about it is when Mikal Bridges is hot, we didn't have a guy that can find Jalen Brunson in those spot up 3 situations to get JB to knock down threes when Mikal Bridges was cooking to keep Mikal Bridges hot. Right? When you add Deuce to the floor, right? When you add Deuce to the floor, Deuce is not that guy that's going to be knocking down these threes, keep the pressure off Bridges and Brunson when they get hot, right? Deuce is going to be the complementary player. Deuce is going to be the asparagus of your steak dinner. Like you're legit going to have the steak, your shrimp scampi, your mashed potatoes, and then you have your wine. You got the New York cheesesteak coming, but on that plate though, you got some asparagus, right? That's
so now we went from calling people ham sandwiches. Now they're asparagus.
No, I'm saying
he's a side dish.
No, I know what you're saying.
In a context,
balance.
Because think about it.
But you know what?
He is still a part of a great.
A lot of people don't like asparagus, bro.
I know.
A lot of people don't like their greens.
I know, but he's still a part.
I didn't have no Brussels sprouts.
He's still a part of a great meal, though, right? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know.
In theory, he brings a certain level of balance. The only thing is, when the steak is gone, the shrimp scampi is gone, the mashed potatoes are gone, and you have to depend on the asparagus. Then what do you have? Like when you have to depend on the asparagus,
make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Yeah, you gonna throw the asparagus in the trash and go to Wendy's. right? And it's no disrespect on Deuce because at this point, you are who you are. Deuce is not a scorer. He's not an off-ball threat. He's not a rebounder. He's not a guy that's going to get live ball turnovers. He's not going to get you many live ball turnovers from a guy that is a on-ball defender. Right? These are like the small things like we don't add to the comment. Like if you're an on-ball
he's
defender,
a bit of an off-ball threat, though. I do think he's an off-ball threat.
Well, I mean, the numbers say that he's not, bro. The numbers say that he's not. Deuce McBride in his career has played in 236 NBA games, right? 236 NBA games over the course of 4 years. That means he plays. And also over his career, he averages about 17 minutes a game, right? It's not like this dude doesn't play. He plays, but he just doesn't give you quantifiable data to support the fact that he impacts games in a way that is a team-oriented type thing. And the other thing too, I understand what people are saying about, the net rating when Deuce is on the floor. And I venture to say, if Ivory 10 could knock down 39% from three when he was on the floor with those guys instead of Deuce, right? Then they would be trying to play Ivory 10 instead of Deuce.
Well, I just think that we can't find better for that money right now. I think that's where it comes down to. We don't have a lot of money, and Deuce for the money is really. I mean, how many other guys making that kind of money? Are after they signed another contract, they're
making $4 million.
Who's playing more minutes than that?
You mind if I answer a little bit right here?
Yeah.
Late first round picks that are still on their
contract. That's what I'm saying. We can name one rookie, second or first round on every team in the NBA who makes less than Deuce and is contributing more to their team than Deuce is contributing to ours.
But these are first round. These are like very good. These are good players that are just on their first deal.
Deuce is a good player.
Deuce is on his second deal. Deuce is on his second deal and signed a $4 million. What do you think those guys are going to sign?
Why is that though? You think he did us a favor?
What do you mean? Why is that? Because Deuce isn't as good a player as them.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
But Deuce is on our team. Those guys aren't on our team. Those guys are first round picks for other teams. We could pick $1 million.
I'm talking about. I said second round guys too.
I mean, but Average, you moved the goalpost because
I didn't.
You mentioned salary. You said $4 million
on their second deal.
But it don't matter because that don't count on the cap.
Here's why it doesn't matter. Here's why it doesn't matter. Because very high first round picks get paid a lot of money.
And we know this. Every time we know all the stuff that you're about to say. You said $4 million.
I said on their second deal. This is his
that doesn't
deal.
matter.
Of course, there's going to be a ton of rookies that make less than $4 million.
Give you.
I mean, who are we kidding?
That doesn't give you an advantage on your salary cap. The salary, all the salary cap knows is $4 million.
The point is, on his second deal, we've got a guy going into his prime on his second deal, making less than $4 million and plays 18 minutes a game for us. There's none of those dudes you guys mentioned that's going to be making $4 million on their next deal. None of them. They're all going to be making 2 to 3 times that.
Okay.
So my point is for the money, what we're getting from Deuce is valuable. And it's going to be more valuable when we put him back in his position where he's supposed to be playing.
Nah, I think you love Deuce.
What position do you think?
I don't. Y'all heard me tell you before. I wanted Jokic. I wanted Jokic.
That's when you take Deuce and you trade Deuce for somebody who fits your more ideal situation.
Well, who's going to give you a rookie that is performing on Deuce's level, that is still in their rookie contract? Who's going to give you that? That's better than that.
But that's why it doesn't have to be one for one. It doesn't have to be 1-1.
If there was a better player, Leon would have been all over it. Here's the thing: we pay $10 million to these dudes to go do their job, and I think they do it. They do it. They've been trying to upgrade this roster all summer. We know that. They've done a great job so far. They signed a couple of guys for like no money. Once again, these are great deals to have for the production that they give. I'm telling you, there's not another. What other second? If you think Shamet would do what Deuce does or better, then why isn't Shamet on any roster and nor is he being talked to by anybody?
Right, I agree.
Because there's a bunch of first and second rounders these last 2 years that do what they do for less, and they have young upside.
Money. Yeah.
I'm not just saying first rounders. I'm saying
do you really
there's a bunch of second round guys.
No.
Look on every NBA roster. There's a bunch of second round guys that averaged 10 points a game last year. Go look at rosters.
Coach,
on every team in the NBA. Go to the NBA.
Coach, hear me out. It doesn't make a damn bit of a difference. And here's
sure
why.
It does.
The teams, the reason why they would rather play that young guy because they expect that guy's got upside. Shamet's a veteran who they know they're not going to get more out of. Shamet is just a 3-point shooter. That's it. He looks like a guy who.
I'm not saying that you Shamet
by everybody. Shamet, who you guys are praising right now, is not being asked to be on anybody's roster.
Why are you saying you guys? I didn't say anything about Shamet.
Well, when you talk about replacing a guy with a first-year dude or a second-year, we don't have those dudes. Okay, the first and second-year dudes we have can't play basketball, and they haven't proven.
We don't know because they weren't put in last year.
I do know. I saw them in G League last year. They couldn't play against scrubs, so I do know.
Okay,
I saw them.
Yeah.
You can agree to disagree.
No, I got you.
I'm saying they could be more ready this year.
You want Kolek running the point? You want Kolek running the point?
I didn't say Kolek. I think we wasted a year of.
You want Daddy A kind of running the offense instead of Deuce?
Hey, let me.
I'm not saying to run the offense. To run the role. I'd rather have a 6'9" guy run the role.
Hey, Chris, they talk
McBride
in the circle. They're like both of them are right. They don't want to admit that they just added stuff to the conversation. I think they want to be right.
I don't think he's right about McBride personally.
You want to be acknowledged to be right. We know you right. I think you want to be acknowledged to be right because we know you right.
I'm right.
Right. But the thing, Fritz, if I asked you,
you're gonna be proved wrong this year.
I'd rather have Coach. Can I just have a second, bro?
Yeah.
Fritz, if I asked you right now, if you would rather have Deuce McBride or Toumani Camara, who would you say you wanted?
I drive Deuce to the airport. I drive right now.
Right now, I wouldn't drive. I make Deuce walk to the airport for Toumani Camara, right? And guess what?
Uber.
And right, and guess what? Guess what money Toumani Camara makes?
Way less, like 2 point something.
No, he makes $1.8 million.
Is he on his rookie deal?
Yep.
Then why are we talking about this?
Right, because here's the thing: this dude that's on his rookie deal, this was a trick. I was trying not to set you up, right? But Toumani Camara is older than Deuce McBride, right? He's on his second. He's going into his third season, right? He was given a role. Hey, go out here and defend these guys and take 3-pointers when they're open, right? And so for the price of Deuce McBride, you can get 2 Toumani Camaras. And we're talking about Deuce McBride's value on $4 million. Fritz, would
you can't even get one of them. You can't
Fritz,
even get one
Kamara, would you take
whatever
two
you can't get one of them.
Camaras for Deuce McBride?
You can't.
I'd take a half.
You can't.
These are the things I'm saying. It's like some of the things that the national media is saying about our team is not accurate. Remember, they are content creators too. It doesn't mean everything they say is fact. Like Deuce McBride being on a value contract is something people created just to talk about, right? Because if I could take Deuce at $4 million and go get 2 Toumani Camaras, you think I wouldn't do that? Of course I would.
But I think what people get wrong
and is he a better shooter? Is he a better shooter than Deuce? I would say at the beginning of his career, Deuce's shot looked better. Right now, Kamara's shot looks better than Deuce.
So we're upset.
And both they're in the same range of 3-point production.
And what round was Kamara?
I think he was undrafted.
So
if I remember correctly, I think he was undrafted. He may be a second-round pick too.
But I think the thing people get wrong, it's not one for one what one player is better than one player. We have technically 17 players on this team. We just need to field 10 good players. If I gotta take 3 players to get one good player,
You talking about on a nightly basis? You talking about on a nightly basis?
Yeah. So
Okay.
so if I have to take 3 of those guys to fix our problem, I'm gonna take 3 of those guys and fix that problem. It's not just Deuce. Like if I have to take Deuce and I have to trade Huck Porty to get the right guy to be at shooting guard, I'd do it. And I think people are. It's not an indictment on Deuce as a person.
I think the Knicks would too, but there's just nothing available. We can't, we can't get that right guy. That right guy is apparently not very easy or not a priority.
No,
and you keep saying Ivory 10 keep knocking out the park. Ivory 10 says
this summer ain't over. Like I've been saying, summer ain't over.
Yeah, the thing what Ivory 10 said just now also is when you say find the right guy, remember our superstar, our mega star has flaws, right? And he's got flaws that you can't correct with a system, right? He's short for his position. He's not super athletic. You know what I'm saying? But he scores the ball at an exceptional level, right? Jalen Brunson is one of the best scorers the Knicks have ever had, right? In the 3 years he's been here, he's a scoring machine. At the same time, he's not going to give you defense and at a certain. So the guy that you put next to Brunson has to be the chocolate to his peanut butter, right? And I know that sounds strange, right? So if the guy you're looking for to go next to Jalen Brunson has to be a tall, ball handling, point of attack defender.
He got to be the whole Reese's.
Knock down open three.
He got to be the Reese's. He got to be both, if you ask me.
You feel me? And so that's why when we do the thing about Deuce, it's not that Deuce is a bad person, bad NBA player, bad this, bad that. Nah, Deuce is Deuce is, when it comes to leadership, he's elite, right? When it comes to being a person, he's top notch. He comes from a good family, right? But then when you say, well, what does a 6'1" decent defender that doesn't shoot the three well or great for an off-ball guy, what does that do for Jalen Brunson? Nothing. It don't do anything for JB. And then you're like, well, okay, he and JB aren't exceptional together. What does that do for your bench? Well, if your bench, think about this, if your bench is Clarkson, Josh Hart, and Yabusele, what does Deuce do for that group? Nothing. Right? Nothing. Because if you have Josh Hart and Yabusele together with Deuce, that means your best shooter out of the best three-point shooter out of that 4 is Yabusele. Right? And now are you really depending on a 4/5 big to be the guy that stretches the floor when you have Clarkson, Hart, and Deuce on the floor who are all undersized at their position? You gotta get a compliment to that, bro.
I thought it was the biggest priority.
I just want to get away from.
I thought it was the biggest priority that we did not take care of this summer. Everyone, is telling me that Clarkson is that guy. I guess maybe he is. Truthfully speaking, I haven't watched his game enough to know whether or not he can be a 1 and a 2. Because I think that's what we need: a guy who can play the 1, but also guard the 2, have that ability, and also shoot.
Clarkson ain't guard nobody, bro.
Right. Well, so I'm not sure we have that right guy yet, and I really felt like that was a big priority for us. And I'm surprised that we didn't really, find that dude. I mean, it's a little surprising to me. I mean,
yeah, man. Yeah, and so the thing with I think Clarkson is gonna fix some of that. Like we hadn't had a scoring machine off the bench since J.R. Smith. So the fact that we brought Clarkson in to be the scoring machine off the bench is elite, right? To me, that improves the team. The only thing about that is now when you're talking about backup point guard play, will Jordan Clarkson be able to be a scoring machine be the complimentary guy in the backcourt to Jalen Brunson, and be the bench point guard. That's a lot to ask over the course of a season. You would like to have a complement to Jordan Clarkson. So on nights where he can't be 3 for 3 in all of those situations, those nights where he's 2 for 3, like his complement can pick up one of those things. Right? It's the reason why they brought DeLon Wright in to go with Cameron Payne. Right? Remember when they brought DeLon Wright in, DeLon Wright wouldn't play, and then when you find out Cameron Payne and DeLon Wright can play together, you're like, okay, Cameron Payne does know how to relocate and get open. It's just in that last little stretch, man, his shot wasn't going. But did he get open? Absolutely. Which brings us back to Deuce. How does Deuce relocate? Is Deuce an excellent relocate movement shooter that can create space for himself without getting the ball? No. The ball handler has to do a lot of stuff in order to get Deuce open, and then
fellas, I got to take off. So sorry. Thank you so much. Loved it. Love the show, fellas. Keep it going.
All right.
Hey, work on your golf swing, bro.
So, like, my thing is, especially with the starting lineup, and maybe with Mike Brown's style of offense, and because of the pace, maybe someone like Mikal Bridges, because of the pace and the style of our offense, how it's going to be, Mikal Bridges can actually have that role to like help Brunson, like in a more faster pace. Like Mikal Bridges isn't a half court facilitator, you know.
Okay.
So, but in the flow of a faster pace offense, I think Mikal Bridges can do that. He was doing it for Brooklyn a lot. He didn't just have a point guard bringing it up for him. He was bringing up the ball a lot over there. So, like, we were hoping he would do some of that for us, but because of what we were running, it didn't suit his style well.
Yeah.
So maybe with Mike Brown's style, Bridges we might see something with him doing that. You know what I'm saying? So, and this whole percentage thing, and you know, it's one thing when you're not counted on for scoring to shoot, and then it's another thing to have to create your shots and be counted on for the scoring, and your percentage is what it is.
Right.
The last I checked, comparing anyone to these guys, Allen Iverson and Kobe Bryant were not known for their shooting percentage.
Right.
Everyone's talked about how they're two of the most amazing scorers in the NBA has ever seen, and their shooting percentage was straight poo. You used to see 7 for 24 games, 6 for 20, you know, like, so when you see someone like Clarkson saying he's Kobe or AI, please don't think I'm making this comparison, but for a volume shooter, like when J.R. Smith came in for the Knicks or Jamal Crawford, they're the green light to shoot. So you're going to get 2 or 3 or 4 shots right off the bat, and you're either going to be instant fire or you're not, you know.
Right.
And that's what we're hoping Clarkson is for us this year, you know.
Yeah, Clarkson is just an upgrade off. He's Cameron Payne, but upgraded Cameron Payne. So like taking shots when you're not necessarily open. You're not necessarily open. You're just in your spot. I'm gonna shoot it.
Right. Well, but Clarkson, I mean, he's a 6th man of the year. Okay. Oh, not that long ago.
Mm-hmm.
For 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And 4 years ago, he was the number 4. But He's a career 16 points a game scorer. Like, we're not here. Like, we already have enough guys that are defensive. You can't win an NBA championship with a whole team of defensive specialists. You just can't do it.
No, and that's ridiculous to even be. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, I understand the New York mentality, the one defensive. I was a fan of the 90s. I saw what a defensive team does. You know how many championships the Knicks won in the 90s? 0. Because Patrick Ewing was the only one that could score. Okay? We had a team defense. Well, we also had guys that couldn't freaking score. Okay? And yeah, OKC is a good team defense.
Where's Jordan Clarkson from, bro?
Where's he from originally?
Yeah, I think he's probably from New Jersey or somewhere.
He was born in Tampa.
Oh hell. Well, yeah, we got to trade him right now because you can't get athletes don't come from Florida, bro. Florida don't have.
Yeah.
But I think the best thing about Clarkson is that he makes quick decisions. And one thing about last year, our team held on to the ball too long. We were isolating too much. People were just waiting around. That's not Clarkson. Clarkson, I'm gonna shoot it, or I'm not gonna shoot it, or I'm gonna get rid of the ball. Like, that's what we should be playing. So I think he's kind of like he is used to playing how we want to play this year.
Okay.
And I think that's what makes him. I think he's kind of ahead of the curve, where our players are gonna be trying to learn a different style.
I also think that Utah team was so bad. There was so much pressure on him in the backcourt that when you have a backcourt, like all you have is chuckers in your backcourt. Can you imagine a team with Jordan Clarkson and Colin Sexton on it? They might be fighting over the ball, bro. They might legit tackle each other over the basketball, bro.
But they weren't even the main guys. They were just letting rookies just go out there and just do whatever.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I think Jordan Clarkson being introduced back into high leverage basketball, you'll see a different level of Jordan Clarkson, because Jordan Clarkson, before going to a rebuilding team, was legit a decent NBA scorer, right? But at the same time, when you have guys that were here and with the Knicks that were already, that were already playing in high leverage games and they still hadn't produced, maybe the lights are too bright. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not saying that Deuce McBride is. Listen, I don't want to trade Deuce McBride to the Utah Jazz. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is there has to be a world for this dude to be better. We have to find an inroad to him knocking down these shots. I was talking to BK Steph, I think it was last year or 2 years ago, on this show we were doing called The Neighborhood. And we were both talking about how Deuce McBride, when you're winning, knocks down every shot in the world. When we're losing, he misses everything. Right? Coach, I don't know if you ever, Fritz, y'all ever heard me talk about that? How Deuce McBride is a wave player. Like, if you're up 10, Deuce McBride is going to hit 2 threes to push you up to 16.
Like,
but if you're down by 7, you can't count on him. Yeah. So it's one of those things. It's one of those things. Yeah. As soon as I said, "Hey, look." What? Yo, look, my people in the chat. Salute to Dope Soul Sports. Hey, salute. Yeah, man.
Nah, but like, for me, like, even if you look at Indiana, okay, Halliburton was cooking before he got hurt.
Yeah.
Like Indiana was still in that series. I don't care what people say. And is Indiana known for their defense?
No.
Okay. And they're not known, it's not like they're this elite offensive team either. What they are is they're a collection of players that all have different strengths and weaknesses. And it takes a coach to maneuver those pieces of the puzzle a certain way to where it fits and works well.
Right.
Okay. In the end, you still have to score 90 to 100 points, whatever it is. You can defend all day, but you still got to score.
You still got to score, man.
I mean, and if you score better than the other team, it's great. So what you do is they're doing what they know they're doing. They know they have deficiencies defensively when it comes to Cat and Brunson. But what they give offensively supersedes what their deficiency is on defense. So what they've done to counteract that, they bring in someone like Bridges and OG, who are elite defenders.
Right.
They got someone like Mitch, who's an elite defender. Okay? So you have players that even out the deficiencies of others. And that's what do we have a deficiency of for the past couple of years, especially last year? Bench scoring. So what did we bring in? 2 guys that can score off the bench. Yapastelli and Clarkson. So we have a great mix of really good defenders, really good offensive players. It's for anyone that thinks you're going all 10 rotation guys are going to be this perfect mix of both. That doesn't happen in this league. There's no such group of players. It doesn't happen. Even the best teams ever had weaknesses and just other guys had strengths. You know, Dennis Rodman, how good of an offensive player was he? There's other guys that did things. He was the defensive guy. He was the rebounder. You know.
Let me say the thing about Rodman was a good offensive player. He just wouldn't shoot.
Right.
On the things on offense, like did he screen well? Did he cut well? Did he offensive rebound well? He did all those things at an exceptional level. His ass just wouldn't shoot.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then when
Josh,
he did shoot,
heart disease.
Yeah, when he did shoot, it looked like he didn't care. You know what I'm saying? Like when he shot the ball, it looked like he didn't care. Like, you know what I'm saying? But Coach, let me ask you this. What are the Knicks deficiencies, bro? Because you mentioned them. Like every team has this, every team has that. What do you think is the Knicks deficiency?
I think the Knicks deficiency is we don't have enough ball handlers. Like guys we can trust to facilitate the offense and bring the ball up the court besides Queen. I think we need one more solid guy in that. It would be good.
Right.
Like I'm totally fine. Like if we ran with this and got John Brown, you know, the 12th man on the all-time teams on 2K.
We're the 2K sneakers.
Yeah, whoever our 12th sign is, whatever. I still think we're making it to the finals. You know what I'm saying? Like with this, what we're running with right now.
Right.
But they want to mess around and get someone that's going to actually contribute and make a difference. Like I think Simmons is. I don't know who some of the other names are they're talking about there. I heard the Westbrook murmurs too.
Nah.
I don't think that's going to happen. But
Westbrook is going to Sacramento.
Denver. You said, yeah, that's the reason why Ben Simmons ain't here yet, right?
No, actually, nobody's really saying what's up with Ben Simmons, but I was kind of speculating. I think he's probably waiting on a situation to unfold to make his decision.
That's you speculating. No.
Right.
That's me speculating. No.
Okay.
But you know, like, oh, if they trade this guy, they can offer 2 years, or so. There isn't which one do I like better. I think he's waiting for something to unfold for him to make to lean one way.
So
Yeah.
So Fritz, I'm gonna say this to that because I think Fritz is 100% accurate, right? And the assertion, the projecting based on the facts that we do know, right? But I don't think that thing is coming because of, and this is my speculation, right? Not what I heard from anybody else, just me reading tea leaves.
Yeah.
I think that thing that Ben Simmons is waiting on is not going to come because of the holdup for the 4th year restricted free agent guys that are, hey, look who in the building. Salute. What's good, boss lady?
Hey,
Hey, Queen. How you
Hey,
doing?
can y'all hear me okay?
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
great.
Yep, you're nice and clear.
I'm in your neck of the woods, Freezy, so I don't know how long I'm gonna be up before
Yeah,
that.
me too.
that-
Everyday struggle. The everyday struggle, right?
But yeah, no, like, and you know, the thing is, defense isn't played on paper. So, like,
Right.
paper, Cat and Brunson or whatever, and then also in person when we watch, sometimes they're not the greatest defenders. I get that. But there's moments in games where teams aren't known for their elite defense, like teams like Indiana in the playoffs last year. They stepped up in certain stretches of the game where they had some great defensive stops. Now, up and down Indiana's roster, besides Miles Turner, you don't think of the defender on that roster that pops out to your head like, oh, he's an elite defender or he's a great defender, you know? So,
just Nemhard, probably.
yeah. But at times, especially in the series against us, they played some great defensive runs. Now, was part of that our inept offense at times? Maybe, you know, but they showed that a team, and even we showed in the Knicks, there were moments in the Boston series, in the Detroit series, where we made some huge stops when we needed them. Even Cat, even Brunson were part of those stops.
Cat made some great stops in that Indiana series. One of the ones that jumped out to me is Cat in the passing lane, getting the steal in the passing lane, getting OG Anunoby the dunk going the other way when OG Anunoby's offense wasn't going. And then when OG gets an open dunk, then you see OG's offense starting to come around. And it all comes from that one play where sometimes all you need to do is get one shot to go in to kind of get you your confidence reset.
Like, do we need to count on Cat and Brunson's defense like the whole season, like 35 minutes slapping the court, you know, lockdown D? Hell no.
No.
We need them to just, when we're up 12 and the other team's going on a run, we need them guys to buckle down and, you know, have a couple stops here and there. It's not like you have to have an all-world defense every trip down the court. You're not going to. Last I checked, there's never been a shutout in NBA history. Okay, no matter how good the defense you play, the other team's going to score because there's some talented guys out there that make ridiculous shots all the time. You know, so that's my point. You know, when it comes to, I see our fan base whenever we mention a player that we want to bring in or someone we already have, you know, these old heads or the new heads that have an old head dad that brainwash them into thinking everyone's got to be an all-world defender or we can't bring them in. They're not allowed here unless they can play defense. Get them out of here. You know, it's just, you can't do it. Not everyone's going to be the best at D. That's why you have a whole team and you have concepts and schemes to
right.
help everybody.
Queen Bee, what's good?
Everything is good on this end. I was just tuning in, listening to you guys, enjoying the show.
Yeah,
Man,
thank you.
I'd be excited. I'd be excited to watch y'all on Thursday nights, man. I ain't gonna front.
Yeah.
I'd be
Yeah,
excited to watch y'all on Thursday nights.
it's this is I call this the dog days of Nick creation. I'm not like you, Freezy. You can have a show every day and it's rocking, and you got a topic and it's rocking. I'll be struggling. I'll be like, what are we gonna talk about? And it's only one day a week. I'm like, what are we talking about today?
I'll talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah, we're good at talking in circles, so we just come back around and stuff.
Well, one of the things is one of the things about this summer, which is a fascinating topic that I don't think that we touch on as much as we should, is that now that the Knicks are championship contenders, we can recognize stuff like Knicks for clicks. Like legit, we're championship contenders. So now we see, when you see the random OD trade with the Knicks in it, you like, that's cap.
Right.
That's cap. It's
Right.
Knicks for clicks. Right.
Right.
Or when you see stuff as a championship contender and you see unconventional names show interest in your team, you're like, wow, Russell Westbrook and the Knicks have mutual interest?
Right.
They're linked.
Is that what it feels like to be a championship contender? Right? Ben Simmons? What?
I remember when they were having ESPN reports about the Knicks, like, who wants to go to the Knicks? That's why they can't, especially when, Durant and Kyrie snubbed us, that year when we were supposed to get them guys and all that stuff. When we got snubbed, that's what everyone was like, well, who wants to go to New York? Who wants to go to the Knicks? And now all of a sudden, we became a destination.
Right.
Like Clarkson,
the Knicks signed Jordan Clarkson?
That showed you right there. He got bought out. I mean, he's a $15, $20 million player. Like, he really is. And he took the vet minimum to play with us.
Right off the bat, like, he didn't even, it was no competition. It was like, that's the first thing he said, I'm going to New York. That's it.
Yeah. I do wonder, I feel like Clarkson fell in the Knicks' lap. Right.
Yeah.
We did. I felt we did. We needed a scorer off the bench. But he fell in the Knicks' lap. As a guard, though, to the point that you all were just talking about, I wonder if that put a wrench in the Knicks' plan to get a guard who can play behind and with Brunson. Because once you bring in Clarkson now, it's like, where does another guard play? Like, I thought in the offseason, the number one priority for the Knicks was to get another ball handler. We need to get somebody, a guard who could play behind Brunson, with Brunson, so that Brunson can play off the ball. I thought that was the Knicks' number one priority, and it hasn't happened. And I wonder if Clarkson falling in their lap kind of put a wrench in the plan. Like, if we go get that guy now, where are they going to play?
I think that plan is still there. It has to, because Clarkson is a 1-year rental. He signed for 1 year for minimum. Next year we're gonna be over the second apron. There is no mid-level exception.
Hey, Queen Bee, Miss Mocha said, hey.
Hey, Miss Mocha.
So it could be a situation where the Knicks maybe get someone who's younger and get you have a year to get ready. Or maybe somebody who they aspire to be ready by next year.
Mm-hmm.
But don't you think we need that player this year, or you feel like we can kind of get away with what we have behind and next to Brunson?
Great question.
Yeah, I think changes are coming. Like this, I look at the roster, and the way I look at the roster is just there's a change coming.
I mean, they would have to. So go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Seth.
It would have to be a consolidation trade, though, in order for that to happen, right?
Indeed.
Okay.
But Queen Bee, I'm going to answer your question, and it's not going to be the answer you want to hear.
Okay.
Right? I think the Knicks have faith in Tyler Kolek being that guy. Right now,
This year?
yeah, and the thing about it is, do I like saying it? No, it was like vinegar coming across my lips. 'Cause- right, but if we're gonna be truthful about what it is, because listen, all of y'all are smart. I'm not gonna, I can't shoot y'all in the gas. Like all of y'all are smart. Y'all already know that if Tyler Kolek was the primary point guard in summer league, and they paid him all that money as a second round pick last year, you know they have faith in him being a contributor sooner than later. Now, even though he struggled, he still had a red shirt season last year, basically. And so my belief is that the long-term ball handling answer could be Tyler Kolek, because for a lot of the guys like Peyton Pritchard, TJ McConnell, JJ Barea, guys with kind of limited skill sets athletically as point guards, they all struggled in that first year and a half, and then at somewhere in year two, beginning of year three, something clicked, and they became a valuable piece of a rotation for a long time. Would I like the Knicks to go out and get a guy right away? Of course. But I think they're addressing both at the same time. They're taking a long, slow play with Kolek, and then addressing the short term with Westbrook, Simmons, Brogdon, whoever is left, and with Jordan Clarkson. If that makes it,
It does.
Sophie,
It does.
did I talk around the issue? Because I wanted to be
No,
more
no,
direct into it.
no. But I'm comfortable with that because I'm not saying Kolek will never be ready. I'm just saying if this is a championship contending season and he's not your 10th guy, he's the primary backup to Brunson.
Right.
I would think that I'm not quite sure if he's ready for that role just yet. Again, I'm not talking about getting playing time. I'm talking about to be counted on in those non-Brunson minutes to kind of run the show as the backup to Brunson for the 13 minutes that Brunson is going to be off the floor for. I'm not sure I would feel comfortable with that. But if you're saying that's the long-term plan, but in the short term is Brogdon, Westbrook, Simmons, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, you're talking about impact, right? Like can he be impactful based on what we saw in summer league? Clearly, based on what we saw in summer league, there are some things that he'll have to clean up. At the same time, as somebody that grew up in the New York tri-state area, we don't really have patience like that. At the same time, we do have to understand that there's a new coaching staff in place. There's a new philosophy being implemented. There is some level of roster finalization, if that's a word, that we're working on. So when we're talking about guys being dead set in roles, we don't know yet because Mike Brown hadn't gotten his team in training camp yet.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff, but listen, I share your concern.
Yeah,
Unless, to Coach's point, Bridges comes through for us, Brunson is still the primary ball handler on this team.
and I think we alluded to this earlier. I've seen it. I saw him. I went back and watched a lot of Jordan Clark, not just his obvious highlights. I tried to watch some. So you can find like NBA.com. You can go through and watch like plays, any play, like an assist. If they put up a stat, you can actually watch the play. Like I went through Jordan Clarkson's one night. This is how crazy I am. I was bored, and I like to be really educated on my team. So when I do things like this, I sound less of a dummy than I do. I went through and watched Jordan Clarkson's like assists, some of the things he was doing, like point guard type stuff. And I was actually, because I was of the mindset, Jordan Clarkson's just this microwave off the bench. He's just pure buckets when he comes in. He's just jacking shots up. And he was actually, especially the last 2 seasons in Utah, he was actually the ball handler. Like he was the point guard off the bench. He was running the offense. And in the bench role with bench minutes, he averaged more assists than he's had the last 2 seasons than he's had his whole career. So I don't know if with age, because we've seen players change their games, like guys that used to be a four or a jumbo wing, like start to do more post stuff, because they lose some athleticism, and maybe Clarkson is noticing, I can't just fly by everyone all the time and just jack up threes. Maybe I need to distribute a little bit. I'm a little older now and smarter. The game's different. It seems like he's more willing to pass than he has been in the past, and that's been on. He's been on some bad teams, So now he's going to have the luxury to actually be a piece instead of only counted on for what he had to do on those other teams. So because he's has this environment, I think that Clarkson can be that ball handler in the second unit. I think he's shown that he can do it. And that's just it. A lot of these guys in the NBA, they were superstars coming up through the ranks. Like all these guys have, like we've all seen Mitch dribble between the legs and do spin moves in the off season.
Right.
A lot of these guys have stuff in their bag. They just don't do it in games per se. Like guys like Jordan Clarkson, and guys that are guards in the NBA, like they all have ability. It's just a mindset change sometimes.
I have a question, Coach,
Yeah.
and for the rest of the panel too. I agree with you. I do think Clarkson is an underrated passer. Like he can pass the ball. He can make pretty much all the passes. I've seen film on that as well.
Mm-hmm.
But in that second unit, maybe I'm expecting too much
Yeah.
because we have players who can bring the ball across half court, right? We got
Right.
players who can do that. To your point, Clarkson is an underrated passer. But I'm thinking, do we, or maybe we don't need this. Is there somebody in that second unit that has the macro in mind when they're running the offense? Like, what do we need right now? We got two, bad possessions the last time. We need a good possession this time. So and so is hot. Let's make sure he gets the ball. This one is chucking. Let's move it somewhere else. That's what I'm thinking we need behind Brunson, not just somebody who can bring it up or who can pass the ball, but somebody who can think, who has the entire picture in focus. Am I expecting too much from that backup point guard, or can a Deuce Clarkson backcourt be okay? Because we just need somebody who can, bring it up and initiate the offense.
I mean, I even think Josh Hart might do that sometimes with the second unit, even though that scares us sometimes because of his decision making. But
Right.
I think, yeah, you made a perfect point there.
I think that's a great question. I think that's very insightful in the stance that we're looking at this from, right? Because there's a difference between a dribbler and a ball handler. Can such and such dribble? Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Can such and such be a ball handler? Yes. Can such and such be a facilitator? Yes. But above all of that, can such and such be a floor general?
Right.
Like understand time and score, understand the pace of the game, understand personnel, read the defense, understand things in the moment and outside of the moment. Right? Do we go for the dagger here in the second quarter against this team? Well, it depends. right? Normally, no, you don't go for daggers in the second quarter, because if you throw the dagger and miss and they throw the dagger and hit, now it's an uphill battle that you have to go, right? Do you go for the dagger? You're up by 11 in the fourth quarter. You're playing against their starters. Their starters are tired. You get an open look from 3, but it's from 28 feet. Do you take that shot? Yes. It's okay to take it there, because if you hit, you go up by 14. They're already exhausted. They already have to use energy to go on a run anyway, just to catch up. And the energy they burn means they're going to have to, not only when they catch up, they'll have to start playing their reserves, right, to give their starters. So it's a lot of stuff that go into it. So yes, Quimby, I agree with you. Now, do we have that guy?
That's supposed to be Deuce. I think, but Deuce, I think Deuce makes good decisions. He just can't execute.
But do we need that guy is the other question. Do we need a floor general in that second unit, or just?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking.
I think we do.
I think we do. Not only do we need that guy in the second unit, we need that guy to go to Jalen Brunson in these times. Hey, JB, we up by 9, and you got an open 3. You don't have to take it.
Yeah,
We
that's
up
a good
by
point,
8.
Reeves.
Right? How many times have y'all seen a game? Remember the Chicago game where we had Chicago beat up and Josh Hart fouled the dude because he tried to do the Russian sickle against the dude's head, and dude knocked down the 3 free throws and we lose? Remember we were
when he fouled his afro?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so in that game when we're up and JB and them trying to absolutely destroy the Bulls, you don't have to destroy them, bro. You just need to win. Right? So relax on the hero ball, bro. I know you feeling it, right? But the time on the clock is more important than the points on the board. You already got a big lead, right? It's 5 minutes left to go. You don't need to take a shot with 19 seconds left on the shot clock. You playing into their hands, right? When you do that, when you start quick shotting and you already got the lead. So Queen Bee, I agree with you. I think we need a guy that does that and is able to do that with the second unit as well as the first, a stabilizing force to get people to understand what the moment is. Because I think a lot of times we played outside of the moment because our coach taught us to be hyper aggressive instead of being hyper vigilant, right? There's like, those are two different things. Like, you can be aggressive and then in vigilance, you just be aggressive situationally, right? And so if we get that, the only thing though, Queen Bee, is the guy that best fits that thing is Malcolm Brogdon, but he doesn't necessarily fit our play style. Is he a guard? Does he still have juice in those legs to run up and down the floor in a Mike Brown system?
Right. But also, Freezy, pace and space doesn't necessarily have to be fast breaking. Pace and space could be just ball movement and just when you take the shot in the clock, your shot within the shot clock. So in that sense, he might fit. But if Mike Brown means fast breaking up and down the court, to your point, he might not.
Right. So the thing about that is in the space thing, when I mean space, is not vertical space, 94 feet. I'm talking about space 94 feet, and then when you're in the half court, space from sideline to sideline.
Right.
Like stretching the floor horizontally and vertically.
Right.
And so is Malcolm Brogdon going to be willing to run all game long to get open? All game.
I see what you're saying.
Maybe he only
just the movement in the half court.
Yeah.
Is he going to be able to do that?
Because your legs don't know the difference.
Right.
So,
I mean, I know, and what we know of Deuce McBride, he's obviously, like I said, he's a great kid. He's got a great attitude. He hustles. He does he checks all the boxes with all the things why we
great
love
team player.
Yeah. Okay. I watched him on a roommate show a couple times. They all love him. We love him. It's agreed. He's very aware, I think, and he's an athlete. He was a football player too. So he's very aware of he was aware of his shortcomings as a shooter at one time. and he made a conscious effort to be in the gym, putting up the shots, getting better at it.
Right.
I like to think and want to give him this assumption credit that I think he sees the same thing with his ball handling and passing. And I'm hoping that part of his game that he's been going in the lab to do that. I hope that, because if he can do that, then it doesn't matter who we sign. Like Deuce McBride can be that guy if that's what he can do. Now, number one, I know he's physically capable of doing all those things. He's an elite athlete, especially for his size. And sometimes it's a skill and mindset thing. It's a skill that I think he can acquire if he just does it. I know a lot of times we come down to like, oh, he's 25. This is going to be his 5th year. Like, why is he going to choose to do it now? You know, I don't. I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, but at the same time, I'm holding him to the fire. He needs to step up that part of his game for me to justify
Step up where though?
in the counting on him to be a secondary floor general on this team.
I don't know, Coach.
His ball
I'm
handling was
hopeful.
improved last year.
What's
His
that?
ball handling did improve last year.
Okay,
Because
then
you saw the playoffs before that, he absolutely couldn't even walk the ball up. And so he improved last year. So he just has to, stay right back at it this year.
I'll say this here real
hope he
quick.
does.
I'll say this real quick. I mean, each year everybody's coming back with something new to bring out the bag. You know what I'm saying? To pull out the bag. So who's to say that Deuce won't do some of the things you want? May not do it all the way to what some people expect. But then again, we hadn't even started training camp yet. So, I would say, don't put all these, expect super high expectations like some do. It's part of being a fan. I get it. But, just relax with it. We'll see what happens once we get once training, we get the training camp and everything. Once this roster solidified and we see what Mike Brown's gonna do, then you can see what Deuce's job or his role would be on the team, because something could happen. We don't know who's gonna get signed between now and then. You get all this stuff. You get the Ben Simmons talk. For all we know, they may bring out Motorboat Jones to throw on the team. You don't know who's coming. So, I'll just say relax and sit back and see what's going to happen.
Yeah, the bench is definitely going to be better than it was last year. Like,
Yeah.
even just on paper, like way better than last year. You got Yabusele, who's like, I don't think people understand. He's looking at this year with the Knicks as a stepping stone. Like last year, signed a minimum to go to 76ers, outperformed there. He didn't get the big contract, so he's coming to New York, and he's going to use it as a stepping stone. Like he's going to be off the bench, but his intention is to be a starter by the end of the year. Like this is the Knicks are just a stepping stone to him.
Good. Good. That's good. If team comes first and player is second, right? But if it's one of those things where it's Brett is only concerned about his payday, then it may not be the ideal fit for us. Because the reason why he's not in Philly is not because Philly didn't value a scoring big. Philly, basically, and man, y'all know, I connect with the Philly fans, like Eat Sleep Sixers and my man DG and all that. I talk to them about hoops all year. These folks are from Philly, and they tell me that Yabusele doesn't care about defense. Like he legit doesn't. He's blasé about defense, passe about defense, right? And it's one of those things. Because think about it, if Philly is in talent acquisition mode, you don't just let talent walk out of the door, especially if you could use it to help you win now, or that you could flip it to bring in more talent if you decide to go in a different direction.
Yeah.
They knew from early on, it was like, yeah, we're not bringing him back. And they knew that Joel Embiid had an injured knee,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if you know JoJo was hurt and you know you need a big that can be the primary guy of that, primary big type scenario, then just the fact that so I'm not saying that I don't like Yabusele. I think he's a perfect fit for what we need. He wasn't a fit at all for what they need, right? For what we need, he's ideal because we hadn't had a second scoring big on this roster in maybe decades. Like, when's the last time the Knicks had two bigs that could score on the roster at the same time? David Lee and Zach Randolph, maybe?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So and I like Yabusele, right? I like his aggressiveness. I like all those things, but I consider him to be more of a miniature Nas Reed type as opposed to a oversized Anthony Mason type, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I
Like,
agree.
he's legit is gonna bring something to the table, and Knicks fans are gonna like it. Now, does he have some deficiencies? Of course, because we wouldn't have got him this cheap if he was ideal, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I think even though he's undersized, I think his advantage is as the backup center. I'm not sure how much of an advantage he has at the power forward position. We'll see. And I'm not sure if I like the fit of him and Cat together, defensively.
defensive.
Yeah.
No, I feel you.
Like, I just think a lot of people, they watch some highlights and occasional things of some players from other teams, and they just assume. I'm not saying you, Steph, or anyone else is thinking this, but like they just assume they just put this stain on him. He's a bad defender, or he's this, or he's that. Like, these guys have pride and they're athletes. I don't anyone because a lot of times defense it's just an effort thing. Obviously, all these guys are athletic enough to defend people and cover and all that stuff. And guys like Yabusele, and he obviously has some meat on his bones, and I've seen him in some of the Eurobasket things. And when he plays on Team France, he defends guys. And against Team USA, it's like it's hard to judge someone when they're in an environment that might not be conducive to their skills, or the vibe there just doesn't call for them to, you know what I mean? I'm not making an excuse for him. Yeah, he's not known for his lead defense, but someone like him, he's one of those feeds off the energy of everybody guys. He gets hyped up and the crowd, when MSG's, when he makes a basket or he dunks on somebody or something, he's the kind of guy that's going to get fired up on defense and defend for a few trips, So, and that's what I try to look at. Like, I don't just look at, oh, that guy sucks on defense, and I don't want him. I just look at when certain groups of players get together, just like Indiana last year. I said this earlier. On paper, they're not known to be a good defense, but in moments, they fed off the energy of each other. In the moment, they buckled down and locked it up on D and got better in the playoffs because of it. But a lot of them guys aren't individual great defenders, you know. So, and that's what I'm, and that's all the defense we need with the offense we have. If we could be in the top 10, top 12, top 15, even defensively, and then have a top 3 offense, we're smooth sailing.
Well,
I
I
agree
heard
with
you
that.
saying, Coach. A lot of that. Like I said, once we see what Mike Brown brings to the table, because you look at a lot of folk are judging what happened to Sack or wherever else he's been. Um, and we'll see. You brought a good point about how Yabusele was used in Philly and everything. So, two different things. Like I said, we don't even know what Cat. Like I said, you got players like Cat and Bridges. All the players, things are going to change. Yeah, they're the starters or whatever, but everybody's role or where they're used is going to definitely change, especially with with a new head coach. And we just signed another coach, correct? We got it's going to be a lot of changes, which I'm looking forward to do. Which I'm looking forward to. I'm just waiting to see because no matter what you do, you can turn water to wine, turn beer to Kool-Aid. Somebody's going to be upset about whatever happens. So I'll just say this: everybody, just let it happen. Once we'll see what we got. Because like I said, we can do is speculate best we can with what we, from what everybody knows or hear. I'm low key, it's going to be real interesting because expectation for this team is high because we were, got to the we will try to get to the finals. Everybody's thirsty and hungry for a championship, you know.
Mhm.
But those of us that were around for the '90s and everything, I'm gonna tell you those. I mean, I'm gonna tell you the championship. When we played Houston, and I always liked John Starks, but man, when he was chucking up boulders and cinder blocks and everything, and then you got Blackman sitting on the bench, and for Pat Riley to come out and admit that he owns that championship loss because he didn't make the move. That's something that sticks in your soul right there. I know we got some folk in Knicks Nation were born around that time or in diapers and wasn't even twinkle in the parents' eye at that time. But for those of us that have been around, that cut deep.
Yeah.
Losing
Well,
San Antonio was another thing because we were injured, and it was a short season, but I'll take whatever. But still, you got there and it didn't happen. And to be this close again, it's like somebody out in the desert screaming, needing water, and you see it right there, but you can't get to the water.
right. Well, as much as that hurt, the whole Starks thing,
Happy birthday, John Starks.
yeah, it shouldn't have came down to that anyway because we were up 2-0, and then that game 6 when Akeem blocked that 3, that would have secured the title for us. Like, remember that
Hmm.
last second 3 attempt? I mean, who knows if that would have went in or not? Whatever. But I don't know, man.
I mean, it's just one of those things. I mean, we can go down memory lane of all the heartbreak and everything we've
Yeah,
gone through.
man.
God
Because I've been
knows.
through it, and that's why the point I was making earlier about those teams. Like I said, I'm not shy to say it. I'm 50 years old. You know what I'm saying? I've been a Knicks fan longer than a lot of our fans here have been alive. Doesn't mean I'm an expert or anything, but if anyone loves to hold on to the past and like tradition, all that would be someone got people my age. We love tradition, blah blah blah. But I'm a man of the times. Like I change with the times. I adapt. Like I saw those defensive teams, and I got tired of biting my fingernails winning 88 to 84 games. you know, I,
I hear you. I
it's
mean, it
nice to
was,
defend, but man,
yeah.
it's nice to throw it, make some buckets. You
But
know,
yeah, that was
so
like the thing of that time too. Defense, a slow pace, and the bigs were go down the court and do that. But
yeah,
today, the whole game has changed. Everybody has handles. You got 7-footers just crossing up guards. You're like looking at this like what the No,
Yeah.
what
Happy
defense?
birthday, Tori B. My bad,
Oh
so
yeah, Tori B. Happy birthday, girl.
Oh,
my bad, so
hold on. Happy born day. But what I'm saying is,
Spit.
looking at it today, the things have changed. Offensively, we haven't had a team this loaded with this much offensive talent that I can think of. Queen, Freezy, Fritz, Coach. I don't know. Those of you in the chat, you remember a team having this much offensive firepower? You know,
Hell no.
since we've, I'm going back to my days. Like I said, I'm elbowing, I'm elbowing 53 hard in the head right now. I'm pretty much hitting with the bionic elbow like Dusty Rhodes. So that being said, you know, it's a lot it's a lot to take in because we're so close. We're so close. You can taste it. I think we ready. Everybody's hungry for it. Because like I said,
Mhm.
last time this team won a championship, bro, I was in diapers. I can't celebrate that and say that's our championship. That's not my championship. That's not a championship that we can all take part of.
The
So
last time we won the championship, that was our best offensive. We used to have a pace with that team. That was like a pace
I
of
would
space team, early 70s.
I would say this before I get off. I agree, Coach. I do think the Knicks need to lean into their offense. I don't think you bring Cat to the Knicks
exactly.
to become a
Stalwart.
defensive team. That being said, you can't be a bottom 10 defense
No.
no,
um and win a
Beautiful
championship.
point.
So you
no.
lean into the offense, go 5 out, in my opinion. I feel like that's when the Knicks are at their best. But that defense in the playoffs, you got to be able to get some stops. You got to be able to turn it up um a little bit. The Knicks, if the Knicks can finish anywhere between 12 and 15 and they got a top 3 offense, I'm happy.
We
But I just
champs.
remember the first 50 games or maybe 40 something games last season where the Knicks offense, this is before they switched, team started switching the center onto Josh Hart and slowing things down. They had that center on Cat and the 5 out offense was looking beautiful.
Yeah,
That defense, man, we would score, they would score. We would score, they would score. The offense was
Mhm.
looking real good, but we could not get a stop. So I agree with that. We have to lean into the offense. I feel we are at our best, but we got to get that defense up between 12 and 15. You can't have a 23rd or
No.
24th ranked defense. I don't care how good your offense
Yeah, no,
is.
I
Say it
agree with
again,
that.
Queen. Say it again, Queen. Because because when the defense was falling apart, you couldn't put a bed. They couldn't put a bed. They couldn't put a bed cover on the bed. It was horrible. Man, it was bad. I got bad knees, ankle. I could have made it to the rack with no problem. And I do agree with you. We didn't bring in Cat to be the defensive stalwart at the center. You want to get more of an offensive punch to go along with Brunson. But again, like I said, I'm sit back and see what Mike Brown could cook up and everything, especially with him bringing in. I think the coach he brought in is more offensive minded, so he can do that, so he can focus on the defense. We see how it goes. Um, been a lot of talk of Clarkson coming off the bench, and a lot of folk preparing him as like the J.R. Smith type, because he's gonna chuck up some balls and have you going ready to flip tables and throw chairs, but then he'll come up with some big shots or whatever else. So it's gonna be an interesting ride. It's gonna be something else to see, because we're gonna see more of an offensive team that we haven't seen before with some of the players, and maybe this will help. But again, we got to do better defensively because you got to get some stops when a team is starting to get a little heater. You need to be able to stop them and if you're down, be able to get 3 stops. Let's get those 3 stops that everybody like to talk about. Get
yo,
three stops and score
let me
smartly,
say this.
faster. Go ahead, Rudy.
I want to say because I got a few things to say. Y'all know I love putting a rock in Queen Bee shoe. I won't do it right now, right? I won't do it right now. But what I will say is that as Knicks fans, I think our mindset should be, and I'm just gonna say it'll be a breath of fresh air if you think about things this way. Now I'm not gonna tell you what to do because that's your prerogative. But the Knicks are going from a reactionary style of defense and offense, right? Like on offense, the game will tell you what to do.
Mhm.
Get 2 feet in the paint and get spray out to shooters type thing, right? Defensively, navigate screens well and crash the board on missed shots. Right? We're going from that to a guy that legit wants to impose his will and bully you in a preemptive way. Like the reason why you don't hear rebounding about Mike Brown and his defenses is because he wants to deny all the stuff that happens before the shot goes up. Right? He wants to all these things. He don't want to let your shooter get to wherever he wants to get on the floor. And if that calls for switching, switching, zoning, trapping, whatever it is, say for instance, if SGA is hot from a certain place, we're going to deny that spot off the floor as opposed to saying in a preset defense that reacts to what the offense wants to do. Mike Brown legitimately wants to punch you in the face at the bell as opposed to the fight getting to the scorecards and you win by judge's decision. That's the difference. The difference is Tom Thibodeau believes in offensively take what the defense give you. The game will tell you what to do. Be a good decision maker based on what the defense poses to you. Just make the correct play. Mike Brown wants to come out and punch you in the throat, right? And it's a different mentality. That's why when you hear Mike Brown talk, like the 1 or 2 times we heard Mike Brown talk, you could hear the aggression in the way that he spoke. Like it's supposed to us to being a counterpuncher and then hoping that we get a great set of referees that's going to call the game even, right? He wants to come out and punch you in the throat from the tip, right? And keep his foot on your throat the whole time. He wants to destroy you, the opponent. He wants to destroy your team, right? Mike Brown wants to beat your team by 55 every night, right? And sometimes he'll tinker to the point where he'll drive you. Mike Brown, and I don't know, I'm trying to give everybody a warning on this from what I've seen now, because I think I like Mike Brown as a league pass coach, right? Mike Brown teams I generally watch on League Pass because they always do stuff that other teams in the league are not doing, right? And you're bringing that to the Knicks, right? Mike Brown legitimately is going to play some lineups. You're like, why is Deuce, Tyler Kolek, and Taka Dadier on the floor at the same time? Because he's searching for that. He's searching for that thing to kind of impose his will. Defensively, that's what you're going to see as well. Like instead of being everybody knowing we're going to be in drop coverage, instead of knowing that the corner 3 is going to destroy this defense because you have Josh Hart on one box and Jalen Brunson on the other box, and that was fine for drawing charges and grabbing a bunch of rebounds, but your defense suffered. Right? Mike Brown is going to try anything that works to stop that team. Now, does it always work? No. Does it look great at times? Yes. Does it look bad at times? Yes. But his mindset is that. Like Mike Brown wants to be the aggressor. And as Knicks fans, we've watched the opposite for so long that we think that might be the only way to do it because we've seen it for
5 seasons.
Yeah. Plus the Mike Miller era of Mike Miller trying to coach to save his job. So he was super conservative when he ran horns all game and then ran drop coverage just to, you know what I'm saying? Because he didn't know what personnel he was going to have from night to night. Mike Brown's the opposite. He going to try to smother them. Yeah. Hey, yeah. Did y'all see the Keon Ellis kid that he would put on the other team's top scorers? The dude that was guarding Jalen Brunson when we played them in Sacramento?
Yeah.
Like legit, he's gonna try to force you. He wants to be the aggressor. And so while that's gonna lead to some Karl Anthony Towns 40-point nights, it's gonna lead to some Jalen Brunson 50-point nights. It's gonna lead to some OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges combining for 60-point nights. Right? At the same time, since we hadn't seen anything like that, it's probably going to have us be uneasy at first. but it's just going to take us some, in my opinion, it's going to take us some time to kind of get used to this thing. And I think, in my mind, I think it gets us closer to winning the championship than when we lost to Indiana when the buzzer went off.
Well, you know what you just described, though, Freeze, that's what Indiana did to us. Indiana
Be
did
the
that to
aggressor.
us. Yeah, be the aggressor.
Take the fight to you.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, you come in the ring, I'm trying to knock you out first. I'm not gonna sit up there and just watch and have you dictate what I'm gonna do. The counterpunch. I would like to see him get out, jump on their back real quick, and bowl on. I like that, come up with something different. And it's going, but the thing is, you have your different groups of fans from the fan base. You're gonna have some that's open-minded to it. You're gonna have some that's gonna take a little bit of convincing. And you have some, no matter what he does, it just ain't gonna work. Tomato, tomato, potato,
Right.
potato, that type situation. So, but
Mhm.
I'm with you on that one because it's something different. We love, Knicks Nation loves the defense, defense first. And last season I saw, I'm sitting back in the cut looking at the chats. People were more upset that it was more offense than it was defense. This is what we're known for is defense, defense, defense. Sometimes you're gonna have to switch, have to flip the script and change it, switch gears and go a little bit different. I'm not saying forget defense, but if you can't, if you stopping people, but you can't hit an elephant in the backside with an ironing board, what good is that defense gonna do for you? See what I'm saying? You gotta have people to be able to put the ball through the hoop. So you gotta bring in certain things and all that. So I'm with you on that. I like the whole jump out and get on them first. Punch them in the face, chop them in the throat and bite them in the forehead type mentality.
Yeah, listen. To me, it doesn't matter. That's about process.
Mm-hmm.
The results have to be the Knicks between 12 and 15. I feel, in my opinion, that's how we get the best shot in the top three offense. Whatever that process is, whatever he can do, if he has to play zone, if he has to bring the 10th man off the bench because he feels like this is a good matchup for that particular player against this other. I mean, I think that's fine. If Karl Anthony Towns' role on the pick and roll changes from game to game, I think that's fine. I think whatever the process is fine. It's the results. It's the results. The Knicks have to, in my opinion, be somewhere between 15 might even be too low, but be in the top half.
What's a
Defensively.
satisfactory end result if you get those? If you get those results, what's the end of your equation?
Yeah, I mean, really, there's no way to tell. Basically, the Knicks need to win a championship. And
Okay.
I just think, I'm guessing. I mean, it's more than a guess. I just don't think the Knicks are going to be able to do that with a bottom five, bottom 10 defense.
No.
But
Yeah.
I get it that some people feel like offensive rating is the end all be all, defensive rating is the end all be all. I mean, the end all be all is that that you win 16 playoff games. however,
Yep.
however
Yep.
you
Basically.
however you able to
100%.
do it. Some people be like, oh, we number 12 in rebounding. We can't win a championship if we number 12 in rebound. I mean, it's not the end all and be all, but I just feel like it just trends. It just gives you just a sense of, you know,
We
a
see a
sense
better
of what your
edge.
chances could be. And I'm not saying that you can't win if you got the 23rd ranked defense. I'm just saying I'm not gonna feel real comfortable
Yeah,
if
I'm
if
with you
we
on that.
do.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, Queen, because you being 23rd, I'm like, ooh, I'm up here nervous. Like I said
It's
all the time,
possible.
yeah, it's possible.
But
Anything, hey, like I said, the sun shines on the dog's backside every now and again. However, in this case, I'd be, you got the Knicks had the third best offense, and you got the 23rd defense. I'm as nervous as them cats were on Maury when they waiting on those results.
The
I'm like,
manila
oh man,
envelope.
yeah, that
They
vanilla
got the
mean,
wave coming
manila
on.
envelope.
Yeah,
in the
coming out
end,
something.
I
Yeah,
don't
it's
think the
going up.
final rankings matter. I think it's just as long as we get more points than the other team, that's all that matters, really.
I
I mean,
mean,
that's
but you all right,
That's
but
true. That's true.
you all right, coach, on that. But how many times have we seen when we had the more, we were coming out with the most points, and they get that one shot. That's
Well, then we didn't score enough, but that didn't happen. You know why we lost in the playoffs?
Hold on, coach. Let me finish before you start flipping tables and throwing chairs and coming with a side spread.
Going on, Dudley boys.
Yeah.
Right.
But the thing is it didn't. That happened. It's happened not just in that playoff, but we've seen it happen before more than once. We got to be able to at least get a stop when you need it. Now, because we talk about you get that exactly point, the timely stop. Because when you're missing free throws, when cats got on their blinders, they got the Stevie Wonder and Ray Charles shades at the free throw line, and they boinging balls all over the place, and then it comes to that point where cats get tight, and you just hey, whatever you do, don't give up the shot, don't give up the shot. And somehow, some way, it always seems to happen. Or somebody throw one up. We got to be able to get that, like Queen said, the timely stop. Because you're not gonna be. It's some players you just like, hey man, I just slow them down. Because when they're in the zone, Ain't nothing you can do. You throwing buildings at them. You doing whatever you can, and they just the rim is open like the ocean. They just hitting everything. As long as you can shut them down, but it's gonna come back to different concepts and different ways to look at it.
I agree with the stops and all that, but we lost in these playoffs because our offense took a nosedive. Period. Our defense kept us in the series this season. Yeah, there was some times where we had some letdowns and we let them come back.
It's gonna happen.
It was because we couldn't score. We had drives, or we had so many empty possessions and turnovers, more turnovers than we ever had. Also, we were actually one of the better teams in the league in turnovers all year. All of a sudden, in the playoffs, we've got how to make a shot, and we turned the ball over. That has nothing to do with defense.
No, it does. It has to do with their defense, for one.
Come on, man. Maybe Detroit, Indiana was not.
Indiana was blitzing us, coach. Come on. I'm not trying to go back and forth.
Then our offense wasn't good enough. Then you mean to tell me with the talent that we have. The talent that we have, the Indiana's blitzing defense is what killed us. It's because our offense was inept.
No, I think.
But they had something to do with it. It's not.
Yeah, they made it tougher on us.
Something to do with the offense.
But we had enough talent on our offense to tweak that around.
You can look down on offensively saying, but you still got to use what you got, and it's going to come down to different. It's going to come down to.
That's what I was going to say to you, Sophie. I think both y'all are right, because from game to game,
it's
sometimes our defense let us down, and sometimes our offense. What it is that I think Tom Thibodeau was a beat slow with the in-game adjustment to, like for instance, in game one. Remember, in game one we had that huge lead, and at the end of the game, Indiana reeled us back in.
Sure did.
And we was still having our offensive guys on the floor, right? In game one, remember, in game one, Tyrese Halliburton hit a prayer over the top of Mitchell Robinson that hit back iron, bounced way up in the air. And if that shot is an inch left or right, the Knicks win game one. Instead, we lose a heartbreaking game one to a hated longtime rival on our own floor, right? And so to say that wasn't deflating is naive, because we know that was deflating, not because it was Indiana on a buzzer beater. It's because of all the things. We had a huge lead. They couldn't figure us out. Tibbs was playing the wrong people situationally. Mitchell Robinson should have been playing more minutes, should have been more involved in the defense later on in the game. And then at the end of the game, when this dude hit a Hail Mary brick and they go in for a game winner, it deflates. They're now doing the choke sign because we were up by 19 in a game one at home in the Eastern Conference Finals, and we lost that game. And so when they said choke, you couldn't say that we didn't choke, because the players may not have, but the coaching staff was like a split second off of every adjustment. And it puts you in that spot where you're like, you know what? It's one of them things, man. Where
players choke too for you.
Yeah. So Naismith comes down and makes 4 or 5 threes in a row. Okay, when we're up 19, mind you. If we score on 2 or 3 of those possessions and make our free throws, it don't matter. He can make every one of them threes. still win the game. That's my point. He chucked up threes. Maybe 2 or 3 of them were because of bad defense or decisions, but 2 or 3 of those were prayers that he made. Come on, that had nothing to do. There was no defense in the world that was going to stop.
Okay, coach.
Once he got hot,
But coach,
once he got hot,
you just proved one thing I said. One thing I said. You're gonna have a cat come in there on the heater. No matter what you do, they're gonna just throw and it's gonna go in. And the other thing is free throws. And I hear what you're saying, coach. I hear what you're saying. But again, I agree with you. But I'm still standing the ground on what I'm saying because you made a good point. Just like
wait. So all of y'all agree with what I'm saying.
I'm just saying what I'm saying. But my thing is,
the
you don't have to get.
shot was a brick that went in.
No, it was a man. Remember what I said earlier, Freezer? The sunshine on the dog's backside and died again.
Yeah, I agree with that, but it should have never came to that. Is the point I'm making?
You're right. We all agree with that one.
We all agree.
You know what? You all agree. That's the whole thing. Hey, you ready to turn green and start back?
No, I'm not. Look, your guys' perception of when I talk getting animated, I have never gotten angry on this show once. You would never. You would never hear. You wouldn't have me back on the show if I got fired up and angry on the show. It got loud.
But we understand we understand where you're coming from. We
yeah, you do, but Soulfinger and other people in chat, the fans of the show, think that I'm getting. They think I'm getting all.
Understand too. Soulfinger understand too.
They think I'm getting all worked up just because I get animated and my volume goes up a little bit. I ain't mad or fired up or hulked up at all. I'm just passionate about the Knicks.
Yeah, I think yeah.
So,
yeah. But the point, I guess the ultimate point that everybody is contributing to is that at times during the playoffs against Indiana, there were a few missteps, and those missteps in the playoffs led to our demise. Because it wasn't just this year's loss against Indiana.
Last year,
remember the year before when we lost to Indiana, when we were up 2-0 and had a huge lead in game 3, and they came all the way back into game 3, and Nembhard hit that dagger 3 over Brunson.
Another dog in the backside.
Why Brunson was on the floor and Deuce is on the bench? You need defense, right? Because offense in that point don't matter because you have the lead already. Right, because if you get the rebound and you bring the ball down the floor with like 30 seconds left, all you gotta do is call timeout and put Brunson back in the game. You're not gonna try to score on a fast break, and even if you do get the fast break, if an NBA team can't execute a fast break, they're not NBA players. Tom Thibodeau made missteps throughout the entire way, and I'm not gonna blame it all on. I don't want to say the coach destroyed this run, but if a few things go differently, we're having a different conversation.
I agree with that. But I will also say Indiana did the same thing. We talk about Indiana's not a good defensive team. They did the same thing to OKC.
Yeah,
if Halliburton doesn't get injured, they might be the NBA champs at this point. They were up at halftime. So I'm not taking anything. I mean, coming into the series, maybe as fans, we were underestimating Indiana a little bit. But when you see how they played against OKC, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander was looking like Brunson. Like he didn't know,
right?
He didn't know what to do going one-on-one. I think
except he got the foul calls. Didn't get.
Yeah.
Right. I think we got to give credit to Indiana, but I agree. I don't think Tom Thibodeau was at his best in that series. But if you look about all of the open shots, I'm not gonna kill Mikal Bridges. He wasn't the only one, but he had some shots in some key situations multiple times that had he knocked those timely shots down, we're having a different conversation.
Queen, we could talk. He had at least 30 of those looks in the entire playoff.
I don't know about 30, but he got a lot.
It was a lot.
He had enough that, like I said, he couldn't hit an elephant in the backside with an iron board. It was bad. And you're sitting up here on the,
probably would have snuffed Bridges if we saw him. Remember in the Detroit series where we had to scuffle for every basket, and we finally get an open shot to Bridges in the corner, and it's a frick. He's like, what the?
Yeah. And OG disappeared a couple times too offensively. I ain't gonna
That's what
lie.
I'm trying to say. I think
Yeah.
there's enough blame to go around. When you get into
Yeah.
the playoffs, the coach is going to be off, but then a player drop 50 and you won't even think about how bad the schemes was. Then
Yeah,
the
right.
coach will make a good play, bring the 10th guy off in a place in which he doesn't even play, and that guy will come through for us like campaign came through for us again. And then you forget
Mm-hmm.
about the fact that your starters didn't even show up. So listen, over the course of a playoff series, the coach is going to be terrible, the players are going to be terrible, but overall, you got to have somebody making up for for the other things. And I don't think that happened enough for the Knicks. The shooting for the Knicks weren't there. And listen, you could talk about schemes. Maybe the schemes weren't great. That's why they didn't get the shots, they should have got. Maybe the lineups weren't great. Lineups impact performance too. Like it's all an
All the
interaction,
above.
lineup,
Yep.
schemes.
Yep.
And then sometimes as a player, you just gotta hit the damn shot. Halliburton hit 4 game-winning
All the
shots on
shots.
their
Yeah.
way to the NBA
Mm,
Finals.
Yep.
Sometimes
Yep.
you just need a player to just knock one down.
Right.
Yeah, like I said, it can come from anybody. If your big dogs are not doing it, somebody somewhere. I'm not gonna lie. I was like my man on Major League. I was ready to go pray to Jobu for just one shot to go
Yeah.
down on the free throw line.
And,
To be
and
honest with you, or give me a stop because it got to
You
the
needed a
point where I'm
voodoo
like, you
doll in
can't,
your lockers.
man, the whole thing, man, the whole thing. And then
yeah,
they driving, and you see
Yeah.
somebody coming in there, and you see the play coming when they're running that same pick and roll. I'm like, somebody. That's when you lead the coach. Be like, hold on, timeout. Yo,
Yeah.
pull them to the side. Be like, hey, you see what they doing? They doing this. You need to be doing that. Or let me
Yep.
pull you out, put you in. So it was a combination of a perfect ugly storm on our part to go the way it goes. But and the thing is I always look at it like this. You got to get when you look at the free throw disparity. I don't care if we go to the line. We go to the line 28 times, but we only hit 15 free throws. Come on, man. I'm just saying. I'm not gonna say the number, but
yeah,
when you missing at the free throw line, that's just killer. And when it comes down to that, because you look at free throws at certain parts of the game, you're saying that's gonna come back and bite us.
yeah.
Again, they had a couple of shots that, yeah, it was the basketball guys smiled on them tremendously, because I guarantee you have both Nimhart or Halliburton shoot that shot, they'll never make that shot again in a million times.
Yeah.
Right.
And
But
to add, like forever, this memory of this series, I'm gonna have to have this ingrained in my ears. Not only do we have to suffer through that heartbreaking loss in that series, forever, I always got to have the dialogue of Reggie Miller gushing about how wonderful the Pacers are the whole damn time.
Right.
Like the rest of my life, I got to have that memory of Reggie Miller in my ear the whole time while I'm watching it unfold. Oh man,
That's the setup. They did that on purpose. They'll have all people Reggie Miller. All people you want to have in the guard Reggie Miller. You can have anybody because they'll have anybody else where you want to put Reggie Miller in there just to add an extra little hot, extra sauce to it to make it the way it is. But
Right.
it comes down to like I said, Queen said, Queen was breaking out. This is one thing I miss seeing the Queen, being around here, seeing Queen a
yeah,
while
definitely
because I've
miss
been,
you too. So finger.
yeah, I've been out of the way with all this, with everything else under the sun. Queen brought up some good points about how, she's breaking out these pieces, bringing all these pieces to form it together as a Voltron on why and how, scheme, missing shots, coaches, you and Freezer both brought up, coaches are slow on the thing. Because you want to talk about choke, they were sitting on the sideline eating Popeye's biscuits without anything to drink. They were choking over there because they could not figure out what to
So
do.
but that's the thing with Tibbs though. I don't think he processes slow. I don't think Tibbs was a dummy. I think Tibbs is smart. I
He's
think
slow
the
in
reason why
reaction.
he was a beat slow is because of his confidence in what he and his coaching staff had put together and not wanting to change it because he believed in what they found on tape is the reason why I think he was a beat slow. Not because he processed slow, right? Because to get at this level, to get paid millions of dollars, you got to be a pretty sharp person, right? The
Yeah.
Leon Rose and them, they ain't gonna hire no dummy, right? The thing is he believed in his system and his players so much that he felt like they can overcome some stuff, but you can't take those chances in the playoffs, man.
Yeah. I
Facts.
give him that you believe in your players and system, but sometimes you gotta know, hey, in the motor words, King Rogers gotta know when to hold them, know when to fold them,
Right.
and
One.
again, I'm maybe before this cat get up and he's on the heater, how about you foul him before he gets the shot up, put him on the line or whatever, something, hit him with the Ice Man King Parson butt move or something. I don't care, but just stop this cat from shooting these threes, run him off the line, something. Besides doing the same
That's
old
a
same.
schematic flaw, bro.
That's
a
what I'm
schematic
saying.
flaw.
Right.
Because he
To
had
your
it
point-
written on his notepad. He
Oh,
had to find it on that page
when somebody
where he
threw a
had his
sticky note away.
rotations written down.
To your point, Freezy.
Mhm.
No, go ahead. I'm so finished.
Oh no, I was just saying, but all season, just real quick, and I'll get out of the way, Queen, because we were having that was a conversation. That was something everybody all season was tight about. Everybody was on fire because of that 3-point line. We were getting lit up like a Christmas tree from that 3-point line. That was a big factor all season. No matter what you did, we were getting toasted.
yeah.
To your point, Freezy, I heard Tibbs say one time, he said something to the effect of, everybody wants to change, change the scheme or change it. But if they're not executing, why are you changing it? In other words,
Mhm.
it's sound fundamentally, they're just not executing it. They just need to execute it. And then you could come right back and say that may be true, but they're not executing it for whatever reason. So you need to, try something else. But to your point, if he believes that something is fundamentally correct, and this is what you should be doing, it's just a matter of execution, he gonna keep harping on them to execute,
Mhm.
instead of, you know what, it may be sound, but they not there today. Let me try something different.
Right. And so the thing the reason why I think they wasn't executing it is not because the players aren't smart. It's
Right.
because they had a lack of faith in that system.
Mm.
There
Right.
you go.
Because when you get burned over and over and over and over, you're reluctant to try something, to have faith
Right.
in something that you saw with your own eyes doesn't work for you.
Right.
Right?
Right.
It's with me and skinny jeans. I tried it one time. It don't work for me. I'm a big guy.
Right.
I can't wear. I'm not wearing. I don't care how many people wear skinny jeans.
Right.
So
I'm not doing it.
that's why
Right?
you got to stay with the suede, the bell bottoms and the suede and the cummerbunds.
Yep, absolutely, bro. And elephant collar shirt, bro.
Yeah, and your cool cigarette behind your ear.
Yep. And some stack heel shoes, some floor shines. But anyway, that's the thing. I think so. I think there was like a disconnect on all these. Now, I'm not saying it was
yeah, that's fair.
a pandemic of inconsistencies. That's not what I'm saying.
Mhm.
What I'm saying is they did 90% of everything on the same page. That last 10% of you're running drop coverage where your wings are playing at the level to stop teams from attacking the paint, but the teams you're playing against are bombing away from three. You're protecting the paint, they're bombing away from three, right?
Right.
And then you guys will start cheating away from the paint and start playing up to stop threes. And one
Right.
guy gets one dunk, and Tom Thibodeau will call a timeout and yell at everybody to get back into drop coverage. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what it was. And plus, after about 5 years of hearing the same message over and over, and you don't get the result that you want,
It sounds like Charlie Brown, freeze.
maybe it's time for a change. So that's why I'm with it. Thank y'all, man, for coming through. Soul Finger brother, it's always good to be with you, man. You missed the show on Echoes and Essence, bro. We were talking about the top sitcoms of all time on Echoes and Essence.
I actually got back. I was at a concert.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was at a concert that night. They had, it was a last minute thing. After the week I had at work, I was like, you know what, bump it, I'm out.
Just
It
go
could
relax.
have been, man, it could have been a bunch of little people beating on pots and pans. I had to go do something.
Yeah. Hey, Queen Bee, when the next time we're gonna see you on air?
I'm on 9 next week Thursday. Next week Thursday, 9 p.m. I'll
Okay.
be on, and hopefully we'll get together while I'm down here this time, Freezy. When I was
We
leaving,
got
when I was
to.
leaving Rocky Mount, Saturday night. I said, you should call Freezy now because you got to pass through Florence. Well, I don't know if
Yeah.
you've told people where you got to
Yeah.
pass
Nah,
through
yeah.
where he is, and maybe y'all could just meet up at the diner somewhere for breakfast. And I
Yeah. Well,
didn't,
yeah.
I didn't do it, and I didn't do it. And next thing you know, I'm driving past Florence, and I'm like, damn, I meant to call Freezy. So you, Miss Boca, we could have met for
You know,
breakfast.
that would have made her day too. You know,
Yeah, I'm gonna try
yeah,
to do
she's
that
so
while I'm
funny.
down here or on my way back.
Or
Um,
one of these days, man. Maybe we drive down, meet halfway, something. We'll
yeah,
figure something
that'll
out.
work. That'll
Yeah,
work.
we'll figure something. We'll figure something out. Want to say thank you to Coach and Fritz Alcindor and everybody. Make sure y'all watch Dope Soul Sports Talk Sports and subscribe to the channel and go in there and harass. I forget the new guy's name. What's the
Ajay,
who?
Jeff.
No, not AJ, not Jeff. The other guy I saw on there.
Oh, that was on last week.
Yeah,
Um, um, Scientist. What's his first name? The
yeah.
first. Yeah, yeah,
We got to get in the
yeah,
comments. We got to get in the comments and harass him a little bit.
yeah.
We got to get in the comment section. We got to
Yeah.
super chat. We got to super chat and bash him a little bit. So
He was like, I'm not trading Deuce or McBride, no, Deuce or Mitch for
right.
Giannis. They can't be in the trade. We got to keep our core. I'm like, okay, all right.
He was saying it
All
with his
right.
whole chest.
Yeah, he said, and meant it, bro, and was dug in.
Oh, he's so hey, freezing. So he sounded like me in that cigarette situation I was telling you about. Huh?
It's like,
Absolutely, bro. Yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, so thank y'all everybody for coming through.
appreciate you.
For the chat. I appreciate the fact that y'all put all y'all comments in the comment section. Whether we agree or disagree on a topic is not as important as us getting together and rocking and talking about these Knicks. So, you know, we always saying, man, put what you got, put what you feel in the chat. You know what I'm saying? We not sensitive like that, you know what I'm saying, to what it is. As long as it abide by YouTube guidelines where nobody's being bullied and all that stuff, you know what I'm saying? I think we, you know what I'm saying, be pretty much good with it. We doing this stuff for y'all so that y'all have a place for a Knicks fan to be a Knicks fan and without being inundated by commercial Knicks for clicks type stuff. So on that, I'm gonna bid everybody adieu. Thank y'all for coming through on a Sunday afternoon, and peace, everybody.
Appreciate everybody. Peace.
Yeah, yeah, man. That